$86. Kitchen and storage supplies, 138 Sam's Club Direct, $416.56. Back to school food supplies, 139 Sam's Club Direct, $117.18. Thorton Township back to school food supplies, 140 Sam's Club Direct, $29.88. Taste of Thornton Senior Bingo gift cards, 141 Sam's Club Direct, $316.14. Thornton Township Big Bingo Prize gift cards, 142 Sam's Club Direct, $379.38. Taste of Thornton Food and Supplies, 143 Sam's Club Direct, $151.46. Big Bingo Dinner Supplies, 144 Sam's Club Direct, $89.64. Taste of Thornton Senior Bingo gift card, 145 Sam's Club Direct, $421.52. Thornton Township Big Bingo Prize gift card, 146 Sam's Club Direct, $316.14. Big Bingo Prize gift card, 147 Sam's Club Direct, negative $29.88. Take the Thornton Township Senior Bingo gift card, 148 Sam's Club, $41.94. Kitchen and storage, 149 Sam's Club, $167.88. Taste of Thornton Food, 150 Sam's Club, $90.40. Taste of Thornton, 151 Santee Shane Jr., $8,913.95. Sounds for taste. 152 Santee Shane Jr., $8,425. Sounds for taste. 153 Sharita Moss, 1,000 RV taste. 154 Special Event Rental, $817.65. Thornton taste. 155 Telefloor, $155.93. For Thornton Township Funeral floor arrangement. 156 the DJ Experience, $1,341.60. Back to school event entertainment. 157 the DJ Experience, $330.24. Taste Cook.
Don't
The Warehouse Food Market, $42.92.
Thank you for the $5 super chat. That is Robert Hunt.
159 the Warehouse.
But actually, I'm gonna go I'm gonna use the bathroom. I'm gonna be back. I don't know if it's. Oh boy.
You out of order. You out of order. Nobody's teaching you to stop.
Oh boy.
Hey guys. Hey. Okay, can you please leave? You are so out of order. Can you please leave? Hello. It's not that serious, guys. You didn't have to leave. Y'all have to stay in order. Next time, can y'all please call South Holland Police? Because we have to remove people. We cannot do this. Every meeting cannot be like this. Y'all have to compose yourselves. Go ahead, Robert.
Okay.
Warehouse Food Market.
He just starts reading them again.
Back to school food, no cone ice.
He just reads them.
Walgreens,
Just continues.
$147.35. 10 home bingo gift card.
Okay, I'm using the bathroom. I'll be back.
Walgreens.
You have to stop. He's not talking to you. Y'all have to stop. Y'all out of order. Can somebody call South Holland? Because y'all gonna have to be removed. We here to handle business, not do this. So please stop. Can you call the police in the back? Thank you. Go ahead, Ron.
161 Walgreens, $144.75. Stay home Beagle prizes. 162 Walmart, $140. Student Workers Appreciation Gift Card. 163 Walmart, $33.74. Student Appreciation Lunch. 164 Walmart, $144.75. Stay home Beagle Gift Card. 165 Walmart, $36.01. Thorton Township Kitchen Supplies. 166 Walmart, $1,250. Big Beagle prizes. 167 Walmart, $527.26. Big Beagle prize gift card. 168 Walmart, $97.64. Taste of Thorton supplies and cooler. 169 Walmart, $269.10. Taste of Thorton seeing Big Beagle prizes. 170 Willie Key Now, $1,500. Taste of Thorton.
He's still reading?
171 Winston Neely, $1,100 DJ service.
I just had a full conversation with my wife.
172 Ilana Harrington, $750. Take the Thornton face paint. $390.
A lot of bills. They don't want to pay. Go ahead. What else you got?
All right. 392. 3L Media LLC, $125.
Oh, do you slow the chat? Give me a second. Let me figure it out.
Photographer. 393 3L Media, $600. Photography services. 394 Angela Greer, $3,000. Event planner. 395 BLT Entertainment, $1,200. Comedian First Thursday. 396 BLT Entertainment, $1,200. Comedian First Thursday, September. 397 BLT Entertainment, $1,200. Comedian First Thursday. 398 BLT Entertainment, $1,200. Comedian First Thursday. 399 BLT Entertainment, $1,200. Comedian First Thursday. $400 Calumet Bakery, $252. Cake for senior event. 401 Calumet Bakery, $126. Cake for senior event. 402 Calumet Bakery, $252. Cake for senior event. 403 Calumet Bakery, $252. Cake for senior event. 404 Calumet Bakery, $126. Cake for senior event. 405.
This crazy as hell. She got this man reading all this bullshit, all this money for cakes and Zuzus and Rams.
Calumet Bakery, $163. Strawberry cake. 407 Calumet Bakery, $163. Strawberry cake. 408 Calumet Bakery, $81. Strawberry cake. 409 Calumet Bakery, $163. Strawberry cake.
Oh, thank you, Rick Brown, for the $20 super chat. I just saw that. I'm trying to figure out how to slow down the chat.
$26. Cake, pink and gold.
These guys like a lot of cake.
411 Calumet Bakery, $326. Big bingo cake.
A lot of cake.
412 Calumet Bakery, $407.50. Strawberry cake. 413 Calumet Bakery, $326. HB Everyone cake, I think that's happy birthday, everyone. Cake. 414 Carlos Medina, $350 for taxi service. 415 Carlos Medina, $250 photographer. 416 Carlos Medina, $250 photographer services. 417 Charles J. Williams, $1,200 media production. 418 Illinois Beat Productions LLC, $1,900 video service. 419 Illinois Production LLC, $850 video service. 420 Illinois Public Risk Fund. You should pay this workers' comp. $154.19 on workers' comp. 421 Jimbo's Catering, $399. Senior Home Big Bingo. 422 Jimbo's Catering, $999. Senior Home Big Bingo. 423 Jimbo's Catering, $469. Senior Home Big Bingo. 424 Kurt's Barbecue, $702.
I believe you, Selden. Appreciate the $10 super chat. It's possible you did all those things. He's still talking.
425 Lincoln National Life Insurance Company,
basically
$23.51.
Yeah.
$426. Lydia Aurora, $650.
I agree. This is not what she thought it was. This is a bad idea. She should have never did that.
427 Rakeem Aaliyah Winford, $500.
God, he wants to play cake.
428 Rakeem Aaliyah Winford.
Forcing Robert to read this was a bad idea.
429 Recorded Hit Entertainment, $2,400, $11.65 paid. 430 was already removed. $431 STA Focus Media Group, $5,876.08 media. 432 Super Laundry, $100.
I don't know.
Okay. All right. So
Congratulations.
Just to give a recap of what's going on. So the Board of Trustees are choosing not to pay all those bills that you just heard Robert Hunt read into record. That's a lot of bills. So with that being said, as you know, I don't know how people run their household, but you have to pay your bills. You cannot carry a deficit to the next month, and then you will not be able to afford the next month's bill. So with that being said, the events or things that they just stated, and a lot of it was senior homes that they spoke of, that they don't want to pay for the food or the cakes or the things they
The cake.
They had back to school events as it related to the book bags for the youth. They don't want to pay for that. Taste of Thorton. This is something that the Board of Trustees voted for. They voted to pay the entertainment and everything else. If you go check the minutes or pull the invoices, you will see they agreed, and all of a sudden they don't want to pay for things. Also, student workers, people that came and did work here, you should always take care of the youth and show them your appreciation for the things that they actually do. Also, Father's Day being I heard in there, that's so old. I don't even understand why they're saying no to something that.
Hello, people. I'm switching over to the debate. Give me a second. I'm switching over.
ABC News special event starting right now.
And good evening. I'm Martha Raddatz, joining you live from Philadelphia and across the globe with our powerhouse team coverage as Kamala Harris and Donald Trump are set to face off for the first time in a presidential debate in less than 59 minutes.
And I'm Jonathan Paul. When Kamala Harris and Donald Trump walk on that debate stage in less than an hour, it will be the very first time they have been face to face.
Wait, in less than an hour? So the motherfucker come on at 8?
Tonight's meeting, beyond extraordinary.
It come on at 8. Okay, hold on. We're not
going
to watch this fucking pre-show.
Donald Trump, the Republican nominee,
stands
invited for his efforts to overturn the last election and is...
Hold on. Y'all give me... I didn't ask you production. I ain't asked you to drop that beat. I don't want you to go back to Hannibal's video. That's why I said, hold on. Good grief. I'm not going back to Hannibal's video. We got an hour and I don't want to see that nigga in the bottom of the screen. Who the hell was I just watching it with? Oh, okay. Hold on. I'm sending you the link now. I see all the Dalton regulars over in this chat, so that's weird. I didn't. Again, I wasn't planning on being in Dalton. That's why I had Hannibal link up. But since it's not actually starting at 7 like they lied and said, this motherfucker just said in 59 minutes. So yeah, we're gonna be in Dalton, I guess. We're gonna be in Dalton. We've never done a live Dalton meeting. We had a Thorton Township meeting. But Tiffany just had her
money in a department that has a
finance manager.
And so again, they not only that, but
50 items still. They refuse to do it.
And why are a lot of the vendors that need to come through board for approval being paid on the credit card? So those are questions that I would like to know pertaining to the outreach department.
Okay, so let me clear up a couple of things for you. Once again, I told you guys who Carmen was prior to being the trustee. She was the assistant. She knows exactly.
It's getting 7 Eastern to me, Melissa. I ain't know the difference.
So she processed all of this that she's now complaining about. So now with that being said, she knows how the day-to-day operates. You guys had nothing in place. So let's be crystal clear. Nothing in place here at Thorton Township, so people can stop ooh and ah. If you don't have nothing in place saying, hey, this is your cap for spending, this is what you can do, can't do, and these are the laws. So stop. So when you guys go and say, hey, they spent, he named $60, $100, peanuts. That's what he named that was getting spent as it relates to day-to-day operation. As long as you guys have a receipt, you guys supposed to go to the clerk's office, check the receipt to make sure everything's there and they did what they're supposed to do. That's what you guys are supposed to do, right? But you guys was not doing that, correct? It was Conversation was. So what I'm saying is, and you're the only one that say it, but they say stop now. So stop it, Chris. Stop it. Anyway, so with that being said, Carmen, everything is there. You guys are supposed to overlook it, check it out, and once it's clear, then move forward. But you guys come here and try to act like laws and this and that. It was nothing on the books before I got here to Thorton Township. So we had to clean up a lot of things, and that's what they're not telling. So in doing so, we got to create ordinances, but the ordinance have to make sense. It can't be out of fight or hate. It has to be where it operates the day-to-day operation, and they're not making the laws to that. They're making the laws as though they run the day-to-day, which the board does not. The for those that don't understand law. Legislative normally just write orders. That's it. They do not run the day-to-day operation. That's what they're trying to do. They're impeding on the management's duties. The management duties is to run their operation, give the board a report, tell us what they did for the month, let alone every 2 weeks, and then we go from there. Our job is to oversee it and say if we agree or disagree. Because again, y'all know I was a trustee for 8 years, so that's what we do. So the way y'all operate is just to stop the township resources from going out the door. And for those that don't know, come get to my report, we got a $9 billion surplus in Thorton Township. Stop saying we ain't got no money. So I just want to clear that up. So it ain't got nothing to do with money. I just want people to know. Here at Thorton Township, got nothing to do with money with trustees. It's all about their emotions, their feelings, their hatred, their envy, their jealousy of their supervisor is what this is all about. It ain't about nothing else but that. Because if y'all can clear that up and push that to the side, Township will move like it's been moving. Because when I came here, as I said before, y'all ended deficit. And now y'all have surplus in every single department. General fund, general assistance, and highway commission, and our grant scheme. So if we don't talk about it, let's talk about it. We ain't gonna just keep spreading these lies and just making statements that's not true with no facts to back it up. And I always tell the media this. They always just falsely report things because somebody said something up here and don't ask y'all for paper to prove it. So again, y'all voted for the tax. I don't want to forget why y'all sat here and said you want to take this out. And if you said a credit card thing, why are you voting down? If you said it's already paid, why are you voting no for something that's already paid? Y'all
She been they jealous me since all week.
Get paid. So how is it a problem? Now you did. Don't worry about it. That's another lie you tell Carmen. But I'm gonna point that out because you did. Y'all all approved the tax because that's how we got the entertainment to come into Thornton Township. Because you guys approved the contract for them to come and be entertained. So now all of a sudden it's a problem today. I just want you guys to work smarter and actually do what y'all supposed to do and not just come up here and put a little show on because we have the resources. We get you the budgets that you asked for and you still saying no to things that's needed for our residents of Thornton Township. They really appreciate all the things we're doing here. So are you guys willing to reconsider? Right now, can you answer my question about paying these bills? No. It don't work like that. It don't work like that.
I asked a question you never answered. Who runs the department and who authorizes the payments for this department?
Yeah, why don't somebody just go and smoke the shit out of Tiffany? She's no. Somebody need to just go and do it.
Right? And let's get back to the business because you want to deflect. That's what you do. You deflect, you talk about. Let's talk about bills. I want to know about you saying, no, are you going to pay these people? Are you going to pay these people? We're talking all those people that Robert Hunt just got up there said, are you going to amend your motion?
I amended the motion to add in Illinois Public Risk Fund 420 and Lincoln National Life Insurance 425. I will make that amendment to add those back in. Yes.
Okay. So that's added in. So why didn't y'all catch that before y'all said no? But that just shows that y'all was supposed to offend and just say no. And not because
the entire department is not even authorized. These expenditures are not authorized. They're not passed within the budget.
You just said no to workers' comp and also Lincoln National Insurance. These are things that you guys, y'all really read at the bills, y'all was caught and not even in there. But I just point that out to the public that you guys just sit here saying, I want to say no for whatever reason. That's not right. That's not. So anyway, and that's not. The Lincoln National Insurance is not for the department of notice. Nor is the workers' comp. So stop. So you don't have the floor right now. So are you guys going to amend it to the other bills, or you going to just amend it to the two that you take? Okay, so call the roll. You don't want to amend it. Is it a second on amendment? All right, call the roll.
Trustee Jones. Trustee Gonzalez. Trustee Gray Everett. Through 172, 392 through 436, and she added back on 420 and 425.
Right, so that was.
There was no second for the first motion.
Yes.
So it gets paid excluding items I just said.
That was just a vote on adding 420 and 425 back from having been previously excluded. the motion on the table now is to approve the general fund, not including items 54 through 172, not including items 392 through 436, but including items 420 to 425. That's the motion currently on the table.
Trustee Carlisle? Supervisor Henry? Motion passed.
All right, next on the agenda is general fund. Is there a motion to approve the general assistance? Is there a second? Second. Any discussion?
Yes.
Go ahead.
General assistance fund, line item 14, public works, $38,745 section software. And then item 42, public works, $9,100 software taxes. I know taxes, although once again, this is something that has not been used yet, and it's a possibility not used to, while we wait some money. As it is,
As you know, the supervisor has the sole authority of GA. So that's to give people their tax money back, and you know that, but that's what it's for. How much was gonna cost? That's all you can talk to me about if you like. So right now, we're just on bills. Of course I know. We can talk about it later. I'm not gonna go over my whole plan for my tax thing, but if I am, I'm gonna go over it in my supervisor. That's fine, trustee. But guess what? Let me explain something to you. Let me explain something to you. Just not when you want me to. So no. Okay, you done? Done? You just got 2 sentences. You never got nothing to say. None of substance. So as I say, in my report, which is the supervisor report, I talk about a lot of stuff. Maybe I am going to talk about that in my supervisor report. Right now, we're on bills. So what I'm asking you is, do you want to pay the bills? As it relates to getting to other things, I will in my report, because I got a lengthy report to educate everybody on what's going on here in Thorton Township. So you will have your day. So right now, are you going to approve the general assistance fund?
Oh, she feisty,
Right,
feisty.
we're done with discussion, okay?
Oh no, Tiffany said we done.
So I would like to make a motion to amend the general assistance fund.
Yeah, me, I thought that motherfuckers did 7 for real, not the pre-show started at 7.
Okay, before you make your motion, just so y'all know,
Tax refund software and
Definitely not going live at 10 tonight.
software for $9,100. I'm sorry, the other one was for $8,745.
okay. So back to what I was saying. This is what I mean about let me educate y'all. As it relates to the general assistance fund, that is solely the supervisor. So you amending, you taking out, you trying to replace, you guys have no say so in it. We put it on here just to be transparent for those that don't understand how this works. If you go and do your research with other townships, you will see they don't even give the board the general assistance fund. They do not even present it to their board. But I do, because I'm being transparent and I want everybody to see what we're doing in the GA fund. So that's what I mean about when you know better, you do better. But yet y'all sit here and try to stop programs that I just said on my mouth. Hey, we're giving tax money back to the residents. And you sat here, Carmen, and said, oh, I want to remove that software. So you don't want to give tax money back to the residents? Make this make sense. Y'all nitpick at every single thing with no substance, with no education on it. And then I tell you what it is, and you still vote no. So y'all can vote all you want. I just told you it's illegal, because y'all know what y'all did when y'all did the last time. And they came back and told y'all cannot do that. So go ahead, call the roll. So there's votes. And we will say something.
I actually did do my research. I did call Township. About this.
She always saying don't get that new shit with her.
I have the authorization to do
She'll find it weird.
If there was a budget pass, you absolutely could do. But I did call Township, and they said that you cannot, due to there not being a past budget.
Okay, if that's not true, so we gonna move the court, because I go back and forth and say what they told me, go there. So we just gonna keep moving. You guys say y'all taking it out, y'all see what happens when I do. I call the roll.
We can't have a roll call yet. We currently have a motion by Trustee Carlisle to approve the GA fund, not items 42, and is there another one?
Pretty much, she just told them folks she gonna do what the fuck she wanna do.
Excluded 14 and 42. Trustee Jones? Trustee Gonzalez?
What's the purpose of her having conversations with these people if she's gonna end it every single time? I do what I want to do.
Okay, so for everybody with GA, know that your bills will be paid, everything will still move forward according to state statute. I follow state statute. I don't follow people that have an opinion or that's upset about whatever their dislike is of the supervisor. So just letting you know, if you came to Thorton Township, you asked for my help, whether it's GA or the food pantry, you will still get food, you still get everything that you need. Next, we have Road and Bridge. Is there a motion to approve Road and Bridge? Is there a second? Is there a motion and a second? Any discussion? Call it.
Trustee Gray Everett? Trustee Carlisle? Trustee Gonzalez? Trustee Jones? Supervisor Henry?
Yes.
Motion passed.
Okay, next on the agenda is approval of the budget for the fiscal year of 2024, 2025. Is there a motion to approve the budget in appropriation ordinance 24-009 for Thorton Township General? Is there a second? All right, and then just table it until when? Okay. Call roll.
Trustee Carlisle? Trustee Gonzalez? Trustee Gray Everett? Trustee Jones? Supervisor Henry?
No. All right, next on the agenda.
Motion passed.
Is there a motion to approve an amended ordinance 24-005 to regulate event expenditures and budget approvals for the Township, Cook County, Illinois? Is there a motion? Is there a second? All right, is there a motion second? Any discussion? Okay, so we got a couple things for discussion. So the event expenditure, once again, this is the ordinance that I was speaking to the residents about. When they sat here and they said that they weren't trying to stop events, they just wanted a budget, and I told them that was a lie. So with doing so, they harmed a lot of things that were going on in our township. A lot of people, such as senior services, cannot have their events, cannot do different things because they didn't have funds and things to buy for residents. So I'm going to point that out because in doing so, they could not do their ice cream social, and that's something that's senior services. So those that attended the ice cream social that they do all the time, that's what I think Haven City building location. And what the problem was, they had to go in their own pockets to buy the ice cream, which they did do that. But what I'm saying, that is not their job. They're employees. Their job is to come and operate their location and actually use their budget to buy things for their residents. They weren't able to do that due to the fact that they put this ordinance together. And that's what I was saying when I say they just writing things and they don't ask the staff what their needs are, what their concerns are, and how they move forward. So that's what I'm trying to make sure people understand what's going on. We can't just make laws with no direction and nobody knows, like, hey, senior service needs this, youth and family needs this, and that's what the problem has been. So I'm asking that you guys update this. I know you guys updated from the changes that we had, but there's certain things in there that we would like to add, and I think you guys would have said no to that. And I'm asking here to the public, are you guys willing to amend this ordinance to the things that we asked for in the ordinance? Okay, wait a minute. I know, but for the money you said so we go through it line by line what you're talking about. So the money you said you added for the senior event is still at $4,000. And 21. Not for seniors, it was always $1,000 a week. You mean for the catering? Right, but I'm talking about for the event. We on the event. I'm talking about for the event itself per week. Y'all said $1,000. Y'all said $4,000. Not per month, $11,000 per month. What do you see that is? Right, it's $4,000 per month. That's what I'm at. So 4,000. Okay, but why didn't you? I thought it was 5,000. Robert, was it not 5,000? Was what, 5,000 on there?
And we, some department heads got together, just asked if they can move it to monthly, because our reports are usually monthly. It would give the department heads leeway to say, hey, if they spend 200 one week, they spend 1,200 next week. And so we did ask, they put that, we did ask.
And did you get it cleared up on the monthly event spending cap? Did that cleared up?
They have 4,000. They have 4,000 a month here.
No. At the bottom, page 7, number 1, section 07, page 7, number 1.
You said, yeah, I want to double check with the lawyer with some of it, with some of this final words, but I'm pretty clear on most of it.
All right, go ahead. All right, what else did you change? Page, go ahead.
I know, I thought it started at 7 because that's what they told me, 7 Eastern, and they had camp notifications set and shit. And then when we came on, they said, give us 59 more minutes. So I was kind of stuck between a rock and a hard.
You said bowling, and we're missing, well, we got the comment, I don't see that. Is there anything else? Make sure that they got.
I need to.
We're asking the lawyers, going back and forth with some of the questions, but I guess one of we see that as a monthly allowance for $4,000, but then section 5 says if the event exceeds 1,000, we need to present it. Is that after we spend 4,000, and then over 4,000 need to be presented, or? Oh, okay.
Anything else, bro?
No.
Go ahead, Chucky.
I expect my folks that I do go along with what Robert said, as well as our budget is concerned. Told me to make sure I trust her. Frank Zuccarelli told me that.
Okay, so while she's doing that with the clerk, I just want to say for future reference, when you guys make an ordinance, please make sure you talk to Keith Price. He's the one that oversees the staff here, which is the management, so that the management can get their input as it relates to any ordinances, because this was really complicated. And you stopped a lot of events. I know we told you about the senior services one, and there was a social gathering for ice cream, and then the other one was for youth and family. And that's what really, really hurt my heart, because the kids that we pick up after school, we go pick the kids up when they get out at 2:30, 3 o'clock, and we take them to our youth and family building right here in Riverdale. The problem we had is the board would not approve for them to get food. So we had to struggle to feed them the first week we had them in our location. And we keep your kids for 4 hours. So I think like 3 to 7. So that was really bothersome, because every time we called them and asked them, hey, can we go buy kids food? Can we this, can we that? It was always no. And I think eventually, I don't know if they changed it or did something different later, but I know that's what the issue was. And we had to make sure we found a take care of kids. A lot of people chipped in, and we made sure that the kids, because there's one of your kids in here, ate food when they got out of school. Y'all know how it is when you go to grammar school. When you get out of school, what you do? You go home and you raise the refrigerator because you barely eat food at lunch. So that's the problem we had, and I just don't like stuff like that because I feel that they're playing with the residents and our youth, and our job as government is to make it make sense and make it right, and make sure that there's a way, especially when you got the budget for it. It was like $300. It was chunk. It ain't no big money. So all I'm saying is that we should always do what's right and stop impeding on the day-to-day operation. That's kind of what this board of trustees have done, and I keep asking legal as it relates to them impeding on day-to-day operation. Okay, so let me correct you, Trustee, because you always say some sideways stuff up here. Hold on. Why would let me clear you up? No one waited the day up. This operation was going on before you guys. Hold on. Before you guys made these little laws,
commentary in this
was already in order. We do after school every single year here at Thorton Township. This is not new. So it's sad because only you think you just got it now because you don't read nothing. So if you was reading your stuff and you would have known what's going on here at Thorton Township, if you showed up to the events and if you engaged with the residents and you knew what community wants and needs are, you would know better before you said it out your mouth. Because we always feed the kids. Always. We never had this problem. Y'all made this law. Y'all made this law and then y'all hurt the staff. The staff had to go and figure it out. So then they called me. So we all have to go and chip in to buy food for kids with a program that's funded by Thornton Township. And like I said, it was like $300. Why would y'all do that? Because y'all weren't thinking when y'all made the law. Y'all made a law that was just despiteful to who? The supervisor. Because you didn't have to do that. If y'all would have asked people input when you make laws, that's what you're supposed to do. Hey, let me ask each department head, how does this hurt you or help you? But yet y'all hindered us here in Thornton Township. And I don't like it. And that's why you hear me talk to it, but yet y'all still made the law anyway. When I told the residents, they was clapping, yeah. And I'm like, y'all know what they really doing, right? They stopping the services here at Thornton Township, and that's what they need. And when that happened, who got the backlash? Thornton Township. So the parents called up here, everybody called up here, even the seniors, when y'all couldn't pay for the ice cream social. This is the problem that we have. Certain things that they really care about that y'all may not care about, but they care about. And I'm just tired of it. I just want y'all to do better and ask them before you make a law. That's it. All right, call it on.
Trustee Carlisle. Trustee Gonzalez. Trustee Jones. This is to approve amended ordinance 24005 to regulate event expenditures and budget approvals for township. Trustee Gray Everett. In the ordinance. Okay. Supervisor Hilliard.
Okay, next.
Motion passed.
Next, is there a motion to approve an amended ordinance 24-006 to establish a retail/credit card/30 policy for Thornton Township, Cook County, Illinois? Is there a second?
Okay.
It's been motion second. Any discussion?
Yes.
All right, go ahead. That y'all are sitting here putting stuff together again without asking the input of the administration. You said you don't know how it got there, just still appeared on the paper, you put it there. So what I'm saying is he don't read his packages. He don't pay attention, he just come here and go check his phone record. You don't believe, he don't know that everything. That means feeding you, your kids, paying the bills, he don't know to everything here at Thornton Township. That's not what you're supposed to do. But moving forward to this ordinance. So they put together a credit card ordinance. Like I said before, it was no ordinances here before I got here. So when people try to talk about spending, they didn't have a law in place. So how can you tell somebody what they can and can't spend if you don't have a law to check what people were spending? Carmen? So next on here, you got to put on here that, again, I don't know why y'all took Robert out there, now y'all put the supervisor found a credit card. And I think I told y'all, I made myself crystal clear at the last meeting that I do not or will not accept any credit card. As being the supervisor, I never had a credit card ever here, so why would you want to give me a card now? That's another big red flag. And then why wouldn't you give it to the staff? Because they actually run the day-to-day operation. That's checks and balances, that's accountability, that's transparency. When they go back up, you know, hey, Bob about this, Stan about this. That's how you do it. When there was one credit card when I got here, that's what all the theft was. They were still. And I told the news, I told y'all, I told everybody, but nobody wanted to read or say anything about the stories about the theft that was here for Township prior to me. So when I got here, we cleaned it up. We made sure that every department had a credit card. So when they all had a credit card, their names are on the card. That means you're responsible for the card. Now, they wrote this ordinance. In front of again, being despiteful again, they wrote the ordinance and put only my name on it to have a card. I don't go to no grocery stores and run around and go shopping for a department. It's up to them for their department. So again, make sure they get to the resident have what they need. Now, another thing which I know Robert Hunt told y'all, and I hope the lawyers told y'all, is illegal to give out a card that's in my name to anybody. It's like you go to the grocery store and you got Sarah's card in your hand, but you're not Sarah. That's called theft. So when they lock you up for stealing, how you mad? You got somebody else's card in your hand. But the board wrote a law that's right here in front of them that says give the card to the supervisor. The supervisor has a name on it, and the supervisor should give the card out to everybody to go shopping. Make that make sense. And I told them, and I asked them, and I told them to fix it. I told them to change it. I told them to give it back to the department heads because they will be responsible for their department like they was in the past. But no one fixed it. They still want to come here and vote on something that's illegal. I'm saying this for the record, clerk. Make sure it's in the minutes. This is illegal. And we told them that. They still sit here and put this law together. Just because you can make laws don't make it right. But when you make the law, make sure it is the law, like the truth. But you put in here again, supervisor. My name all over this. Y'all see Robert Hunt name ain't in it no more before. It was Robert Hunt is 50. And I told y'all that was bogus. Robert Hunt is a CPA. Y'all got a CPA that make all that money running around going to the social, y'all. His job is numbers. He has a degree. He has a CPA. He's supposed to be in here doing things that relates to that. But you chose to write a law again, that's what I'm telling you, and put him in here to run around and go grocery shopping for every department. Man, we gotta do better, board. So I'm asking you again, y'all got my name in this, and I told y'all the last time, y'all see it didn't work the last time, y'all put my name on this, and never did I get a card. So put my name on here again, make that make sense? Can you remove my name from this ordinance? Now, you know what? I want to make a motion to remove supervisor out of the ordinance, and you should replace it with department heads. Because I'm the ones that run a day-to-day as relates to their department and what they need for their department. And they have a budget to spend within their department. So it should go strictly to the department head. That's my motion to give the credit cards to the day-to-day operators, which is the management. There's been a motion and second to do that. All right, it's been a second. Please call the roll.
Trustee Gray Everett. Trustee Carlisle. Trustee Gonzalez. Trustee Jones. Supervisor Henry.
Yes.
Motion failed.
Y'all clapped last time, and then they tore the house down the next day. Same about stuff y'all doing here, clapping for something. I just told you illegal. So how they gonna get their supplies, trustee? I just want to hear this. Since this how y'all think, right? Who going to buy what for them? I want to hear it. No, I want to know how are the trustees going to fix this? How are the staff going to the store to get their stuff?
There's a current motion on the floor to approve the amended ordinance. No, what failed was your amendment.
Oh, okay. Okay, so back to it. So what we doing? You call the vote all you want. What I'm asking you is what happened the last time y'all called the vote, right? Yeah, hold on. You called the vote the last time, right? And what happened? The operation stopped. And you had to come back. That's why we had an ordinance up here again. It's gonna happen again. Why would you repeat the same mistake? If I'm telling you that we're not gonna use me for a credit card, what are you gonna do for all your staff to get what they need for their day-to-day? Trustees, what's their plan? How they gonna operate? I just wanna know, how transportation gonna operate? How is maintenance gonna operate? How is youth and family gonna operate? How is senior services gonna operate? I'm missing somebody. Food pantry, IT, you always need something. How they gonna operate? I'm just saying, just like IT, y'all already know, y'all get attacked all the time in IT, so how they gonna operate? How do they buy their stuff? Trustees, y'all gotta give me an answer. How they do that? Trustees, how y'all gonna do it? Y'all out of order. Please stop. So how they gonna buy their items, trustees? Because all we're gonna do is put it back on them in the same situation. And then when some breaks at the township tomorrow or the next, they always got an issue. How do they operate? That's what I'm asking you guys. Please tell me. Please tell me how you're out of order. You're out of order. How do they operate, trustees? How do they operate? How? Trustees, y'all want to give us the answer, please? Trustee Jerry Jones, you don't have an answer, so you just gonna vote and you ain't got an answer. You're just gonna make sure that nobody can operate their day-to-day operation. You got no response, Trustee Jerry. Okay. Trustee Chris? Yeah. So how do they operate? Y'all said call roads. We can call roads out of long, but my question still stands. How do they operate to move forward with the day-to-day operation? Trustee, come on, stop playing. You're such a key. How do they operate as it relates to the day-to-day operation? That's all I want to know. What this ordinance is for. You're stopping payments, right? You want one person to have a card and give it to everybody. So can you please, you're out of order, guys. Like, stop. Okay, so how do we do it? How do we do it? Okay, we can have a second. Now discussion. Now what? Now discussion.
There's a motion to call the vote, and there is a second.
Okay, so how we gonna do it? I just want to know how we're gonna do it. I heard you, Colonel. I just want to know how are we going to move forward? Because while we quiet and on you playing the game, tomorrow it won't be a game because now we have to run our day-to-day operation. And then when they all call people, because I think they call all y'all, I think Carmen, I don't know who they call them, and they tell you that they can't operate, they can't get this is broke. How are y'all going to move forward? Y'all got no phone for how y'all gonna move forward? And again, y'all put my name on something that I just told you I don't want, right? And it's illegal to give your card out to anybody to go shopping, right? I told y'all that. Y'all wrote that up here. You can't give your card to somebody, but you said give the card to other people to move forward. So what are we gonna do? We gonna get the call to roll, but I just wanna make sure I'm crystal clear that I didn't miss nothing about what it is y'all study doing. Because y'all did this before. Robert had a hard time going shopping to get stuff and doing his job. So what I'm saying is, what makes you think it's not going to be worse? Because again, you're trying to make somebody take something they don't want. Y'all nothing? Crickets? All right. So tomorrow, to the staff, make sure y'all call the board of trustees with y'all problems. When you can't buy something, get something, make sure you call them for that. And good luck.
Trustee Carlisle. Trustee Gonzalez. Trustee Jones. Trustee Gray Everett. Supervisor Henry.
No. And y'all.
Motion passed.
I'm just saying and voted. No to something that somebody say they don't want. How you gonna make somebody take something they don't want? Because y'all lie. Y'all supposed to, I just want to know who voted y'all lips. Who got y'all doing all this? I really want to know that.
Supervisor, before we go on, Trustee Gray Everett changed her vote from the last motion of the budget to no. So I want to put that in the record. To approve orders 24005, trustee Gray Everett voted no.
Okay. So next on the agenda is approval for a purchase of handicap accessible vehicle for transportation. Is there a motion? Is there a motion? Is there a second? Is there a second? No, I'll second it, second. Is there a motion and second to approve of a handicap accessible vehicle for transportation? Any discussion?
So how many of these vehicles are in rotation currently? How many could be repaired if that's possible? Can these vehicles be leased, and why are we just receiving this? Why weren't we included in the process? Nobody said anything about this until we received the agenda, and we still don't have a budget passed to be paying $85,000 or $89,000 for a vehicle. So I just want to know how this came to be and what we have in our rotation right now.
So I just want to clear some up to keep saying. You still run on your budget. Keep saying there's no budget. How do you operate anything if there's no budget? You still operate until you guys decide to pay or pass a budget. That's how that goes. And as it relates to questions, and this is what I'm talking about with my pool. If you have questions, you should have asked before you got here, right? And they all would have been answered. But we're gonna have the person that actually put this on the agenda go to the explain it to you so that you will have the answers that you need. Tony, you have the floor.
Hello, everyone. Hello, trustees. It was placed on the agenda for purchasing of handicap. We currently have 8 vehicles in rotation, that 3 of the vehicles that the list are smoking, and we have experienced a mechanical failure this year with air conditioning with vehicles. So, a lip repair is $10,000 per. Well, no, all of them are not. We've been repairing them. All of them are not currently down, but to fix those 3 would be $30,000. Yes. Roughly about $6,000. It was 89 for 30.
Nah. Tiffany, no, she talked bad about them damn trustees at the last meeting. And her damn lawyer. So I don't know why the fuck she thought she was gonna get her way.
Additional repairs, and I put on the agenda for a new vehicle so that it will constantly be in rotation. So if one goes down, we still have one that is number one that we would not have. That's additional. So what actually happens with the lease vehicle, they want half of the money. For like the lift would cost an additional $10,000, but the lease vehicle do not come under. So the lease company wants half of that purchase up front for any add-ons. So inside of leasing opposed to purchasing, if we purchase a vehicle, then we only out like financially. There's not any added cost built into the monthly payment. And at the end, after the 3 years, 5 years, we can trade that vehicle, and we are no longer dealing with the leasing company. With everything they've actually did all of the vehicles. So the co-op, yes, they give us, we have the lowest possible price. So what the co-op actually does at the beginning of the year, they reach out to these vendors, deal with the co-op and with the manufacturer, and give the co-op a lowest price. You join these co-ops, you've been a member of these co-ops.
You said you have 8 vehicles. What's the most you have on the street?
All of them.
Excuse me.
Yeah, I just want to go back to the repairs, because again,
Coach.
it was my question.
But yeah, you took our coach.
But anyways, yeah, so back to what I was saying, I think it's for, it just sounds better to fix the vehicles, and we would have more in rotation. I mean, because if we already have 8 vehicles, we have 3 broken, so we have 5 right now, right?
So right now, all of our vehicles are on rotation. And
All 8 of them?
thank you all very much for making sure that the dealerships take all of our vehicles on rotation. The thing that begins to hinder us if something goes wrong, we have to take it out of service. And the unity rates, I guess we have to take that unit out of service for that day or 2 days, and then put it back in service. So that becomes like the transmission, certain things that the vendor may have to order apart. Now that puts us further out of service, so that
Again, I mean, I understand what you're saying, but it just seems like it would be more effective when we had 4 vehicles that were versus just purchase 1 vehicle. So I'm still trying to understand that. We would have 3 vehicles, you know, like with the lift versus just 1 that were.
So in essence, we have 4 units that are 2,000. So those units are almost basically out. What we did maybe 4 years ago, we purchased 2 new units. That's 2,788. Those are the 2 newer units that came up. Okay, after 2 years, the lift is no longer underserved, where the remainder of the bus body is still in the dealership.
I mean, I understand, but I think just because we simply don't have a budget pass, I think this is something that me as a trustee, I can speak for myself where I say I'll be open to hearing the need, but I just don't think that it's feasible to buy an $89,000 vehicle right now when we don't have an active budget, but it's something that I would be willing to include in the budget that we have.
All right. Any more discussion? All right. Are you guys going to move forward? That's fine, but y'all do know y'all do have a budget. Y'all know y'all have money in the budget. There's still money in the budget that you're operating with. That's why I was saying, hold on. That's why I'm trying to explain it to you, because think about it, how do you operate the day-to-day here? You still operate, how do you operate today? You still operate today without a budget. Okay, so that means there's still money in the old budget, because other than that, you could not operate without any money. But what I'm saying to you is, if something breaks down, I can just explain to you, then what do you do when it's time to go pick people up? And one thing I do love that's going to be mentioned is that all our vehicles are out of the street. That goes back to me saying that every department increase when I took them. We up to 80% of people knowing what township exists. So people are calling for all the services here, but we got to make sure we got the manpower and the vehicles to make sure we can go out and do the job. So you guys saying, oh, I'm gonna wait. Life don't wait on nobody. So why we gonna wait when we can do something about it right now, today? If it is something bad happening, meaning it all breaks down, then what do we do? And then people are scheduled for stuff, what we gonna do? We just gotta be better than this, but okay. All right.
Currently, the motion on the floor is a motion which has been seconded to approve the purchase of the vehicle. Trustee Gonzalez had proposed a motion to, I guess, not approve the purchase pending approval of the budget. There's not been a second or a roll call. This roll call is with respect to the amendment by Trustee Gonzalez.
Trustee Gonzalez? Trustee Carlisle? Trustee Jones? Trustee Gray Everett? Supervisor Henry?
No.
Motion passed.
All right, so next, moving forward, we got here. Okay, next is Supervisor. Yay. All right, so we did a lot of great things here at Thorton Township, despite what all the negativity is. One thing I really love is public service. Without public service, guys, you gotta have a heart for the people. You have to. That's what keeps you going. That's what keeps you motivated. That's what keeps you strong and focused. We had Friends of Teenager Picnic. It was really epic. It was this was last Saturday. It was at Just Ice Rink in Dawson. It was from 11 until 8 p.m. Residents still came out. They had a blast, and they was able to get free food. So they got free food that I paid for. Yeah, we paid for the food because the board did not want to vote to feed the residents. And that's what I mean to you guys when I say you gotta have a heart for community, for people. I reached in my pocket, paid with my own funds to make sure that everybody still ate, that the picnic still went ahead, despite hatred up here. Because you see other events was on the agenda today and they still voted no for it. So, in doing so, people appreciate that. Because if I didn't care, I wouldn't use my own money, right? Because you want people to say, hey, she really loves what she do, and I do. I love it to the T. But you have to give people the opportunity to lead. You have to believe in the person and give them the opportunity to grow. It's said that everybody's just coming and attack and say negative stuff. Just imagine this. I always say this: be today, be tomorrow. It happens everywhere, but it's a matter of when it's your time in the race. So we have that going on. Township Talk. September 25th will be Township Talk. That's where we sit right here and we talk to you residents about things that's going on in the township. We give you facts and we shut down all that fiction stories that they got out there in the public, and we give you all the evidence you need. So if it's anything about our budget, our surpluses that we have here at Thorton Township, we give you every single detail, and every department head sits right here where I am, and they talk to you about their department and what they do in their department and the need for their department and how many people they know in their department. So that's what I love about Township Talk. Again, something y'all wasn't doing before I got here. When I got here, a lot of things were going on. So we're gonna talk about that tonight. Are you ready? Okay, the first thing I'm going to entertain, because how people was asking me questions while we're taking care of agenda items. You're supposed to stick to the agenda is how it works. The chair controls the agenda, the chair controls the floor. Just so people understand Robert's rules of order. But people never want to follow along, just want to say what they want. And in doing so, you stay on task with the items you're talking about. Other things you talk about in your report, or you talk about the Township Talk, and you answer them that way. All right, where you at? You ready? Okay, yesterday, I know that, let me get it. Let me know you're ready, man. So y'all know I love making videos. They have no time to complete the video, but when fake news report videos, and yeah, it was live being, where you at being, I don't know if you behind the camera, live being, made a report yesterday about Thorton Township. And this is how obsessed they are with your supervisor/supervisor, right? They made a report about Thorton Township about the taste of Thorton. As I said to y'all before, the taste of Thorton was voted on by the Board of Trustees, was approved expenditures, but they didn't report any of that, right? So in doing so, he inflated numbers to say one thing, and the truth is the truth, right? He did it for you. I have it for you right here. It's the for you that being did, and he reported that we spent this type of money right here. $30,000 for Kiki, Jay Holiday 20, and then some other performers which we did not have, but people like to make stuff up on us all the time. And he said it cost Thorton Township $135,000. All false, fake news, false. So move on to the next clip. So this is a breakdown of the cost for Thorton Township. This is everything that he forwarded that we gave to Pink. being the light that it is. 32,000 right here was the breakdown right here for what it was that we were supposed to do for Taste of Thorton. Next slide. $50,000 was for the agency, as you can see, for the performance. He said that we spent all this money, and that's not the truth, right? Because the truth will set you free. So here we go. Next slide. We spent the grand total, $83,000. $83,000 what Thorton Township spent. Little do y'all know, it's less than what Frank Zuccarelli spent for all the tapes that they ever did. But did y'all put that? Anybody ask any questions? His last tape was 160.
She's saying the news was lying. All right.
He spent, he put it up? Oh, you put it up. Okay, 103. So I'm glad. Thank you,
So Kiki got 30, Jay Hurley got 20, and then other artists, and for the booking agency, got paid like $50,000.
They got national platforms, and y'all run fake stories. I call them fake news all the time. They never give y'all the truth.
You said you had some comedians out there.
Mine being said it was 135,000. The difference was 51,000, right? The difference in percentage was 63% markup that he lied to y'all on the news about to say that we spent $135,000 loss.
If the news was lying, she could sue them. If they were blatantly lying,
I know a lot of them do anything for ratings and I get it. I tell y'all they use my name, my face, my likeness for ticks and views, and I understand it. And I know y'all making money off of it. I told y'all didn't pay me my percentage. But with that being said, stop lying on us. I don't like that. As I always say, stop lying on me before I start telling the truth on y'all. And that's what you lying to me. That's that. Next, moving on. Let's talk about these events. I always say that the events that we got and what's going on, and I did a comparison because I like to basically compare apples to oranges. Because people say one thing about supervisor, but they don't go give you the meat stuff. Right here for events that we did, MLK, we had Mother's Day, we had the picnic, we had the face, we had Veterans Day, Women's Day. These are all events that the board right here that you just saw was saying no to. These are all events that community really engaged in and really loved that we was doing here. So I just want to show you that. The next one, salaries. That's another big issue we had here at Thorton Township. Salaries was all out of whack when I came in. They had ghost payroll going on. They had all kinds of stuff, noodles. Y'all didn't know that. So when I tried to tell them about all these things that was going on, people just ignored it. So here I am telling you again, 2.5 years later, how long I've been here. Let me see. So let's go to, I'll go my report first since I got it. So y'all mad because the money is getting spent the right way, when in fact in the past it was getting spent the wrong way. So I'll give you an example. Y'all had ghost payroll going on. This is the previous administration. Some of them in the crowd. You had expensive bonuses. And Stephanie Williams, remember once she got an $18,000 bonus, $20,000 bonus. This is how you get people online. I just want to point this stuff out. I know y'all don't know about this, but all this been going on in Thorton Township. You had gasoline for all. So you want gas? Everybody got gasoline. I don't care who you was, pull up, got gas. They had take-home vehicles. They had spot treatments with government funds. News, that's a news you can use. Employees work from home. No accountability for where they at. And HR was giving out personnel information. So all this was going on. And again, this is stuff that I was trying to tell them when I first got here. But everybody that was here, that was upset and had an attitude, pushed the cameras to me and say, "No, look at Tiffany, I just got here." But I was basically exposing all the mess here at Thorton Township, and that's why it's all cleaned up. That's why we got surplus. We had deficits with that. I don't want to say we because I ain't on that. They had deficits for years.
Yeah, it's debate time, so we cutting Tiffany off. I'll review this shit in the morning, and I'm gonna pull the news story out so she can keep saying they fake news and shit, even though they FOIA'd it and they reported what they found in FOIA. They also reported that Frank Zuccarelli did have Thornton Township, but he didn't spend nearly as much money.
After his last debate, Donald Trump now up against a new opponent.
The candidates separated by the smallest
America,
actually tied in the polls nationally and in the key battlegrounds, including right here in Pennsylvania, all still very much in play. The ABC News presidential debate starts right
they said Donald Trump is up.
This is an ABC News special.
19%
The most consequential moment of this campaign.
And with
Kamala
Latino
Harris.
voters, 15%, or they just said it's sold with Latinos.
Donald Trump.
We will soon be a great nation again.
Face to face. Historic. The ABC News presidential debate. Here now, David Muir and Lindsay Davis.
We stay pumped.
David Muir, and thank you for joining us for tonight's ABC
Hey,
News
Mr. Million
presidential
people
debate.
watching
We
on
welcome viewers
ABC.
watching on
And the cost of housing is too expensive for far too many people. We know that young families need support to raise their children, and I intend on extending a tax cut for those families of $6,000, which is the largest child tax credit that we have given in a long time, so that those young families can afford to buy a crib, buy a car seat, buy clothes for their children. My passion, one of them, is small businesses. My mother raised my sister and me, but there was a woman who helped raise us. We call her our second mother. She was a small business owner. I love our small businesses. My plan is to give a $50,000 tax deduction to start up small businesses, knowing they are part of the backbone of America's economy. My opponent, on the other hand, his plan is to do what he has done before, which is to provide a tax cut for billionaires and big corporations, which will result in $5 trillion to America's deficit. My opponent has a plan that I call the Trump's sales tax, which would be a 20% tax on everyday goods that you rely on to get through the month. Economists have said that Trump sales tax would actually result for middle-class families in about $4,000 more a year because of his policies and his ideas about what should be the backs of middle-class people paying for tax cuts for billionaires.
President Trump, I'll give you 2 minutes.
First of all, I have no sales tax. That's an incorrect statement. She knows that. We're doing tariffs on other countries. Other countries are going to finally, after 75 years, pay us back for all that we've done for the world. And the tariff will be substantial in some cases. I took in billions and billions of dollars, as you know, from China. In fact, they never took the tariff off because there was so much money they can't. It would totally destroy everything that they've set out to do. They're taking in billions of dollars from China and other places. They've left the tariffs on. When I had it, I had tariffs, and yet I had no inflation. Look, we've had a terrible economy because inflation which is really known as a country buster. It breaks up countries. We have inflation like very few people have ever seen before, probably the worst in our nation's history. We were at 21%, but that's being generous because many things are 50, 60, 70, and 80% higher than they were just a few years ago. This has been a disaster for people, for the middle class, but for every class. On top of that, we have millions of people pouring into our country from prisons and jails, from mental institutions and insane asylums, and they're coming in and they're taking jobs that are occupied right now by African Americans and Hispanics, and also unions. Unions are going to be affected very soon. And you see what's happening. You see what's happening with towns throughout the United States. You look at Springfield, Ohio. You look at Aurora in Colorado. They are taking over the towns. They're taking over buildings. They're going in violently. These are the people that Xi and Biden led into our country, and they're destroying our country. They're dangerous. They're at the highest level of criminality, and we have to get them out. We have to get them out fast. I created one of the greatest economies in the history of our country. I'll do it again and even better.
We are going to get to immigration and border security during this debate, but I would like to let Vice President Harris respond on the economy here.
Well, I would love to. Let's talk about what Donald Trump left us. Donald Trump left us the worst unemployment since the Great Depression. Donald Trump left us the worst public health epidemic in a century. Donald Trump left us the worst
Is it me or is her vocabulary really small?
The Civil War. And what we have done is clean up Donald Trump's mess
What we have done and what I intend to do is build on what we know are the aspirations and the hopes of the American people. But I'm going to tell you all, in this debate tonight, you're going to hear from the same old tired playbook, a bunch of lies, grievances, and name calling. What you're going to hear tonight is a detailed and dangerous plan called Project 2025 that the former president intends on implementing if he were elected again. I believe very strongly that the American people want a president who understands the importance of bringing us together, knowing we have so much more in common than what separates us. And I pledge to you to be a president for all Americans.
President Trump will give you a minute here to respond.
Number one, I have nothing to do, as you know, and as she knows better than anyone, I have nothing to do with Project 2025. That's out there. I haven't read it. I don't want to read it purposely. I'm not going to read it. This was a group of people that got together. They came up with some ideas. I guess some good, some bad.
Heard him say
no difference.
again,
I have nothing to do.
I ain't
Everybody
got
knows I'm
nothing
an
to do
open
with
book.
this
Everybody
shit.
knows what I'm going to do. Cut taxes very substantially and create a great economy like I did before. We had the greatest economy. We got hit with a pandemic. And the pandemic was not since 1917, where 100 million people died, has there been anything like it. We did a phenomenal job with the pandemic. We handed them over a country where the economy and where the stock market was higher than it was before the pandemic came in. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. We made ventilators for the entire world. We got gowns, we got masks, we did things that nobody thought possible. And people give me credit for rebuilding the military. They give me credit for a lot of things, but not enough credit for the great job we did with the pandemic. But the only jobs they got were bounce back jobs. These were jobs bounce back, and it bounced back and it went to their benefit. But I was the one that created them. They know it, and so does everybody else.
Vice President Harris, I'll let you respond.
So Donald Trump has no plan for you. And when you look at his economic plan, it's all about tax breaks for the richest people. I am offering what I describe as an opportunity economy. And the best economists in our country, if not the world, have reviewed our relative plans for the future of America. What Goldman Sachs has said is that Donald Trump's plan would make the economy worse. Mine would strengthen the economy. What the Wharton School has said is Donald Trump's plan would actually explode the deficit. 16 Nobel laureates have described his economic plan as something that would increase inflation and by the middle of next year would invite a recession. You just have to look at where we are and where we stand on the issues. And I'd invite you to know that Donald Trump actually has no plan for you because he is more interested in defending himself than he is in looking out for you.
The faces they be making while they waiting on each other to
I went
talk
to the Wharton
is
School of
funny as
Finance,
hell.
and
Watch
many
how
of those
she looking
professors,
while
the
he
top
talk.
professors, think my plan is a brilliant plan. It's a great plan. It's a plan that's going to bring up our worth, our value as a country. It's going to make people want to be able to go and work and create jobs and create a lot of good, solid money for our country. And just to finish off, she doesn't have a plan. She copied Biden's plan, and it's like 4 sentences, like run, spot, run. 4 sentences that are just, oh, we'll try and lower taxes. She doesn't have a plan. Take a look at her plan. She doesn't have a plan.
Mr. President, I do want to drill down on something you both brought up. The Vice President brought up your tariffs. You responded, and let's drill down on this because your plan is what she calls is
Trump
essentially a
is the
national sales tax. Your proposal calls for tariffs, as you pointed out,
don't have the
on foreign
need
imports
going
across
in
the
the
board.
body.
You recently said that you might double your plan, imposing tariffs up to 20% on goods coming into this country. As you know, many economists say that with tariffs at that level, costs are then passed on to the consumer. Vice President Harris has argued it'll mean higher prices on gas, food, clothing, medication, arguing it costs the typical family nearly $4,000 a year. Do you believe Americans can afford higher prices because of tariffs?
They're not going to have higher prices. What's going to have and who's going to have higher prices is China and all of the countries that have been ripping us off for years. I was the only president ever. China was paying us hundreds of billions of dollars, and so were other countries. And, you know, if she doesn't like them, they should have gone out and they should have immediately cut the tariffs. But those tariffs are there 3.5 years now under their administration. We are going to take in billions of dollars, hundreds of billions of dollars. I had no inflation, virtually no inflation. They had the highest inflation perhaps in the history of our country, because I've never seen a worse period of time. People can't go out and buy cereal or bacon or eggs or anything else. The people of our country are absolutely dying with what they've done. They've destroyed the economy. And all you have to do is look at a poll. The polls say 80 and 85 and even 90% that the Trump economy was great, that their economy was terrible.
Vice President Harris, I do want to ask for your response. And you heard what the president said there, because the Biden administration did keep a number of the Trump tariffs in place. So how do you respond?
Well, let's be clear that the Trump administration resulted in a trade deficit, one of the highest we've ever seen in the history of America. He invited trade wars. You want to talk about his deal with China? What he ended up doing is, under Donald Trump's presidency, he ended up selling American chips to China to help them improve and modernize their military, basically sold us out, when a policy about China should be in making sure the United States of America wins the competition for the 21st century, which means focusing on the details of what that requires, focusing on relationships with our allies, focusing on investing in American-based technology so that we win the race on AI, on quantum computing, focusing on what we need to do to support America's workforce so that we don't end up having on the short end of the stick in terms of workers' rights. But what Donald Trump did, let's talk about this, with COVID, is he actually thanked President Xi for what he did during COVID. Look at his tweet. Thank you, President Xi, exclamation point, when we know that Xi was responsible for lacking and not giving us transparency about the origins of COVID.
President Trump, I'll let you respond.
First of all, they bought their chips from Taiwan. We hardly make chips anymore because of philosophies like they have and policies like they have. I don't say her because she has no policy. Everything that she believed 3 years ago and 4 years ago is out the window. She's going to my philosophy now. In fact, I was going to send her a MAGA hat. She's gone to my philosophy. But if she ever got elected, she'd change it. And it will be the end of our country. She's a Marxist. Everybody knows she's a Marxist. Her father's a Marxist professor in economics, and he taught her well. But when you look at what she's done to our country, and when you look at these millions and millions of people that are pouring into our country monthly, where it's, I believe, 21 million people, not the 15 that people say, and I think it's a lot higher than the 21. That's bigger than New York State pouring in. And just look at what they're doing to our country. They're criminals. Many of these people coming in are criminals. And that's bad for our economy, too. You know, you mentioned before, we'll talk about immigration later. Well, bad immigration is the worst thing that can happen to our economy. They have, and she has, destroyed our country with policy that's insane. Almost policy that you'd say they have to hate our country.
President Trump, thank you. Lindsay?
I want to turn to the issue of abortion. President Trump, you've often touted that you were able to kill Roe v. Wade. Last year, you said that you were proud to be the most pro-life president in American history. Then last month, you said that your administration would be great for women and their reproductive rights. In your home state of Florida, you surprised many with regard to your 6-week abortion ban, because you initially had said that it was too short. And you said, quote, I'm going to be voting that we need more than 6 weeks. But then the very next day, you reversed course and said you would vote to support the 6-week ban. Vice President Harris says that women shouldn't trust you on the issue of abortion because you've changed your position so many times. Therefore, why should they trust you?
Well, the reason I'm doing that vote is because the plan is, as you know, the vote is, they have abortion in the 9th month. They even have, and you can look at the governor of West Virginia, the previous governor of West Virginia, not the current governor, who's doing an excellent job, but the governor before, he said the baby will be born and we will decide what to do with the baby. In other words, we'll execute the baby. And that's why I did that, because that predominates, because they're radical. The Democrats are radical in that.
The
Vice presidential pick, which I think is a horrible
Virginia.
pick, by the way, for our country, because he is really out of it. But her vice presidential pick says abortion in the 9th month is absolutely fine. He also says execution after birth. It's execution, no longer abortion, because the baby is born is okay. And that's not okay with me. Hence the vote. But what I did is something for 52 years, they've been trying to get Roe v. Wade into the states. And through the genius and heart and strength of 6 Supreme Court justices, we were able to do that. Now, I believe in the exceptions for rape, incest, and life of the mother. I believe strongly in it. Ronald Reagan did also. 85% of Republicans do. Exceptions. Very important. But we were able to get it, and now states are voting on it. And for the first time, you're going to see, look, this is an issue that's torn our country apart for 52 years. Every legal scholar, every Democrat, every Republican, liberal, conservative, they all wanted this issue to be brought back to the states where the people could vote. And that's what happened. Now, Ohio, the vote was somewhat liberal. Kansas, the vote was somewhat liberal, much more liberal than people would have thought. But each individual state is voting. It's the vote of the people now. It's not tied up in the federal government. I did a great service in doing it. It took courage to do it. And the Supreme Court had great courage in doing it. And I give tremendous credit to those 6 justices.
There is no state in this country where it is legal to kill a baby after it's born. Madam Vice President, I want to get your response to President Trump.
Well, as I said, you're going to hear a bunch of lies, and that's not actually a surprising fact. Let's understand how we got here. Donald Trump hand-selected 3 members of the United States Supreme Court with the intention that they would undo the protections of Roe v. Wade. And they did exactly as he intended. And now in over 20 states, there are Trump abortion bans, which make it criminal for a doctor or nurse to provide health care. In one state, it provides prison for life. Trump abortion bans that make no exception even for rape and incest, which understand what that means. A survivor of a crime of violation to their body does not have the right to make a decision about what happens to their body next. That is immoral. And one does not have to abandon their faith or deeply held beliefs to agree. The government, and Donald Trump certainly, should not be telling a woman what to do with her body. I have talked with women around our country. You want to talk about this is what people wanted? Pregnant women who want to carry a pregnancy to term, suffering from a miscarriage, being denied care in an emergency room because the healthcare providers are afraid they might go to jail, and she's bleeding out in a car in the parking lot. She didn't want that. Her husband didn't want that. A 12 or 13-year-old survivor of incest being forced to carry a pregnancy to term. They don't want that. And I pledge to you, when Congress passes a bill to put back in place.
Women are irresponsible. They need a man to make the choice for them.
I will
irresponsible.
sign it into law.
I said she looked like a white woman.
If Donald Trump were to be reelected, he will sign a national abortion ban. Understand, in his Project 2025, there would be a national abortion, a monitor that would be monitoring your pregnancies, your miscarriages. I think the American people believe.
If I just told you I ain't got nothing to do with 2025, why the fuck you keep saying my 2025?
Not be made by the government.
Thank you, Vice President Harris.
There she goes again. It's a lie. I'm not signing a ban, and there's no reason to sign a ban because we've gotten what everybody wanted. Democrats, Republicans, and everybody else, and every legal scholar wanted it to be brought back into the states, and the states are voting. And it may take a little time, but for 52 years, this issue has torn our country apart, and they've wanted it back in the states. And I did something that nobody thought was possible. The states are now voting. What she says is an absolute lie. And as far as the abortion ban, no, I'm not in favor of abortion ban, but it doesn't matter because this issue has now been taken over by the states.
Would you veto a national abortion ban if it came
Well,
to
I
your
won't
desk?
have to because, again, two things. Number one, she said she'll go back to Congress. She'll never get the vote. It's impossible for her to get the vote, especially now with the 50-50 and essentially 50-50 in both Senate and the House. She's not going to get the vote. She can't get the vote. She won't even come close to it. So it's just talk. You know what it reminds me of? When they said they're going to get student loans terminated, and it ended up being a total catastrophe. The student loans, and then her, I think probably her boss, if you call him a boss, he spends all his time on the beach. But look, her boss went out and said, we'll do it again. We'll do it a different way. And he went out, got rejected again by the Supreme Court. So all these students got taunted with this whole thing about this whole idea. And how unfair that would have been, part of the reason they lost, to the millions and millions of people that had to pay off their student loans. They didn't get it for free. But they were saying it's the same way that they talked about that they talk about abortion.
But if I could just get a yes or no, because your running mate, J.D. Vance, has said that you would veto it if it did come to your desk.
Well, I didn't discuss it with J.D. in all fairness. J.D., and I don't mind if he has a certain view, but I think he was speaking for me, but I really didn't. Look, we don't have to discuss it because she'd never be able to get it, just like she couldn't get student loans. They couldn't get student loans. They didn't even come close to getting student loans. They taunted young people and a lot of other people that had loans. They can never get this approved. So it doesn't matter what she says about going to Congress. So wonderful. Let's go to Congress, do it. But the fact is that for years, they wanted to get it out of Congress and out of the federal government. And we did something that everybody said couldn't be done. And now you have a vote of the people on abortion.
Vice President Harris, I want to give you your time to respond, but I do want to ask, would you support any restrictions on a woman's right to an abortion?
I absolutely support reinstating the protections of Roe v. Wade. And as you rightly mentioned, nowhere in America is a woman carrying a pregnancy to term and asking for an abortion. That is not happening. It's insulting to the women of America. And understand what has been happening under Donald Trump's abortion bans. Couples who pray and dream of having a family.
There have been some women that won't get a 5-term. That's why they
in our country. Working people, working women who are working 1 or 2 jobs, who can barely afford childcare as it is, have to travel to another state to get on a plane sitting next to strangers to go and get the health care she needs. Barely can afford to do it, and what you are putting her through is unconscionable. And the people of America have not, the majority of Americans believe in a woman's right to make decisions about her own body, and that is why in every state where this issue has been on the ballot, in red and blue states both, the people of America have voted for freedom.
Vice President Harris,
excuse me, I have to respond. Another lie. It's another lie. I have been a leader on IVF, which is fertilization. The IVF, I have been a leader. In fact, when they got a very negative decision on IVF from the Alabama courts, I saw the people of Alabama and the legislature 2 days later voted it in. I've been a leader on it. They know that, and everybody else knows it. I have been a leader on fertilization, IVF. And the other thing, you should ask, will she allow abortion in the 8th month, 9th month, 7th month?
Come on.
Okay, would you do that?
You said, I think
why don't you answer the question with your veto?
You could do abortions in the 7th month, the 8th month, the 9th month, and probably after birth. Just look at the former governor of Virginia. The governor of Virginia said we put the baby aside and then we determine what we want to do with the baby.
President Trump, thank you.
We're going to turn now to immigration and border security. We know it's an issue that's important to Republicans, Democrats, voters across the board in this country. Vice President Harris, you were tasked by President Biden with getting to the root causes of migration from Central America. We know that illegal border crossings reached a record high in the Biden administration. This past June, President Biden imposed tough new asylum restrictions. We know the numbers since then have dropped significantly. But my question to you tonight is, why did the administration wait until 6 months before the election to act? And would you have done anything differently from President Biden on this?
So I'm the only person on this stage who has prosecuted transnational criminal organizations for the trafficking of guns, drugs, and human beings. And let me say that the United States Congress, including some of the most conservative members of the United States Senate, came
trans
up with a border security
organizations,
bill, which I supported. And that bill would have put 1,500 more border agents on the border to help those folks who are working there right now overtime, trying to do their job. It would have allowed us to stem the flow of fentanyl coming into the United States. I know there are so many families watching tonight who have been personally affected by the surge of fentanyl in our country. That bill would have put more resources to allow us to prosecute transnational criminal organizations for trafficking in guns, drugs, and human beings. But you know what happened to that bill? Donald Trump got on the phone, called up some folks in Congress and said, kill the bill. And you know why? Because he'd prefer to run on a problem instead of fixing a problem. And understand, this comes at a time where the people of our country actually need a leader who engages in solutions, who actually addresses the problems at hand. But what we have in the former president is someone who would prefer to run on a problem instead of fixing a problem. And I'll tell you something, he's going to talk about immigration a lot tonight, even when it's not the subject that is being raised. And I'm going to actually do something really unusual, and I'm going to invite you to attend one of Donald Trump's rallies, because it's a really interesting thing to watch. You will see during the course of his rallies, he talks about fictional characters like Hannibal Lecter. He will talk about windmills cause cancer. And what you will also notice is that people start leaving his rallies early out of exhaustion and boredom. And I will tell you, the one thing you will not hear him talk about is you. You will not hear him talk about your needs, your dreams, and your desires. And I'll tell you, I believe you deserve a president who actually puts you first. And I pledge to you that I will.
Vice President Harris, thank you. President Trump, on that point, I want to get your response.
Well, I would like to respond.
Let me just ask, though, why did you try to kill that bill, and successfully so? That would have put thousands of additional agents and officers on the border.
First, let me respond as to the rallies. She said people start leaving. People don't go to her rallies. There's no reason to go. And the people that do go, she's bussing them in and paying them to be there, and then showing them in a different light. So she can't talk about that. People don't go to my rallies. We have the biggest rallies, the most incredible rallies in the history of politics. That's because people want to take their country back. Our country is being lost. We're a failing nation. And it happened 3.5 years ago. And what's going on here, you're going to end up in World War III, just to go into another subject. What they have done to our country by allowing these millions and millions of people to come into our country, and look at what's happening to the towns all over the United States. And a lot of towns don't want to talk. It's not going to be Aurora or Springfield. A lot of towns don't want to talk about it because they're so embarrassed by it. In Springfield, they're eating the dogs, the people that came in. They're eating the cats. They're eating the pets of the people that live there. And this is what's happening in our country, and it's a shame. As far as rallies are concerned, as far as the reason they go is they like what I say. They want to bring our country back. They want to make America great again. It's a very simple phrase, make America great again. She's destroying this country, and if she becomes president, this country doesn't have a chance of success. Not only success, we'll end up being Venezuela on steroids.
I just want to clarify here. You bring up Springfield, Ohio, and ABC News did reach out to the city manager there. He told us there have been no credible reports of specific claims of pets being harmed, injured, or abused by individuals within the immigrant community.
Well, I've seen people on television.
Let me just say here, this is
the people on television say my dog was taken and used for food. So maybe he said that, and maybe that's a good thing to say for a city manager.
I'm not taking this from television.
But the people on television saying their dog was eaten by the people that went there.
Again, the Springfield city manager says there's no evidence of that. Vice President Harris, I'll let you respond to the rest of what you've heard.
You talk about extreme. This is, I think, one of the reasons why in this election, I actually have the endorsement of 200 Republicans who have formerly worked with President Bush, Mitt Romney, and John McCain, including the endorsement of former Vice President Dick Cheney and Congress member Liz Cheney. And if you want to really know the inside track on who the former president is, if he didn't make it clear already, just ask people who have worked with him. His former chief of staff, a 4-star general, has said he has contempt for the Constitution of the United States. His former national security advisor has said he is dangerous and unfit. His former Secretary of Defense has said the nation, the Republic, would never survive another Trump term. And when we listen to this kind of rhetoric, when the issues that affect the American people are not being addressed, I think the choice is clear in this election.
President Trump, I'll give you a quick minute to respond.
You know, everyone that's in, how y'all doing?
When I hear that, see, I'm a different kind of a person. I fired most of those people. not so
Man.
graciously. They did bad things or bad jobs. I fired them. They never fired one person. They didn't fire anybody having to do with Afghanistan. Finish. I got more votes than any Republican in history by far. In fact, I got more votes than any president, sitting president in history by far.
Let me continue on immigration. It was what you wanted to talk about earlier, so let's get back to your deportation proposal that the vice president has reacted to as well. President Trump, you call this the largest domestic deportation operation in the history of our country. You say you would use the National Guard. You say if things get out of control, you'd have no problem using the U.S. military.
Police, yes.
You also said you would use local police. How would you deport 11 million undocumented immigrants? I know you believe that number is much higher. Take us through this. What does this look like? Will authorities be going door to door in this country?
Yeah, it is much higher. Because of them. They allowed criminals, many millions of criminals. They allowed terrorists. They allowed common street criminals. They allowed people to come in, drug dealers, to come into our country. And then now in the United States and told by their countries like Venezuela, don't ever come back or we're going to kill you. Do you know that crime in Venezuela and crime in countries all over the world is way down? You know why? Because they've taken their criminals off the street and they've given them to her to put into our country. And this will be one of the greatest mistakes in history for them to allow. And I think they probably did it because they think they're going to get votes, but it's not worth it because they're destroying the fabric of our country by what they've done. There's never been anything done like this at all. They've destroyed the fabric of our country. Millions of people let in, and all over the world, crime is down all over the world except here. Crime here is up and through the roof. Despite their fraudulent statements that they made, crime in this country is through the roof. And we have a new form of crime. It's called migrant crime. And it's happening at levels that nobody thought possible.
President Trump, as you know, the FBI says overall violent crime is actually coming down in this country. But Vice
Excuse me,
President
the
Harris,
FBI they were defrauding statements. They didn't include the worst cities. They didn't include the cities with the worst crime. It was a fraud, just like their number of 818,000 jobs that they said they created turned out to be a fraud.
President Trump, thank you. I'll let you respond, Vice President Harris.
Well, I think this is so rich coming from someone who has been saying. And let's be clear where each person stands on the issue of what is important about respect for the rule of law and respect for law enforcement. The former vice president called for defunding federal law enforcement, 45,000 agents, get this, on the day after he was arraigned on 34 felony counts. So let's talk about what is important in this race. It is important that we move forward, that we turn the page on this same old tired rhetoric and address the needs of the American people, address what we need to do about the housing shortage, which I have a plan for, address what we must do to support our small businesses, address bringing down the price of groceries. But frankly, the American people are exhausted with this same old tired playbook.
Vice President Harris, thank you.
Excuse me. Every one of those cases was started by them against their political opponent. And I'm winning most of them, and I will win the rest on appeal. And you saw that with the decision that came down just recently from the Supreme Court. I'm winning most of them. But those are cases, it's called weaponization. Never happened in this country. They weaponized the Justice Department. Every one of those cases was involved
There
with the
is no
DOJ,
housing
Atlanta, and
choice.
Fani
We're
Willis,
building houses and apartments every day.
Attorney General of New
Nick just
York, and
had
the
them all
DA in
set.
New York. Every one of those cases. And then they say, oh, he's a criminal. They're the ones that made them go after me. By the way, Joe Biden was found essentially guilty on the documents case. And what happened in my documents case? They said, oh, that's the toughest of them all. A complete and total victory. 2 months ago, it was thrown out. It's weaponization, and they used it, and it's never happened in this country. They used it to try and win an election.
President
They're
Trump,
fake cases.
President Trump, thank you. A really quick response here, Vice President Harris, on this notion of weaponization of the Justice Department.
Well, let's talk about extreme and understand the context in which this election in 2024 is taking place. The United States Supreme Court recently ruled that the former president would essentially be immune from any misconduct if he were to enter the White House. Now the court won't stop him. We know J.D. Vance is not going to stop him. It's up to the American people
Vice President
stop
Harris.
him.
Thank you. Lindsay?
Vice President Harris, in your last run for president.
This is the one that weaponized, not me. She weaponized.
Vice President Harris, in your last run for president, you said you wanted to ban fracking. Now you don't. You wanted mandatory government buyback.
Vice President of the United States. And in fact, I was the tie-breaking vote on the Inflation Reduction Act, which opened new leases for fracking. My position is that we have got to invest in diverse sources of energy. As it relates to my values, let me tell you, I grew up a middle-class kid raised by a hardworking mother who worked and saved and was able to buy our first home when I was a teenager. The values I bring to the importance of home ownership, knowing not everybody got handed $400 million on a silver platter and then filed bankruptcy 6 times, is a value that I bring to my work, to say we are going to work with the private sector and home builders to increase 3 million homes, increase by 3 million homes by the end of my first term. My work that is related to having a friend when I was in high school who was sexually assaulted by her stepfather. And my focus then on protecting women and children from violent crime is based on a value that is deeply grounded in the importance of standing up for those who are most vulnerable. My work that is about protecting Social Security and Medicare is based on long-standing work that I have done, protecting seniors from scams. My values have not changed. And what is important is that there is a president who actually brings values and a perspective that is about lifting people up and not beating people down and name calling. The true measure of the leader is the leader who actually understands the strength is not in beating people down, it's in lifting people up. I intend to be that president.
President Trump, your response?
First of all, I wasn't given $400 million. I wish I was. My father was a Brooklyn builder, Brooklyn, Queens, and a great father, and I learned a lot from him. But I was given a fraction of that, a tiny fraction, and I built it into many, many billions of dollars, many, many billions. And when people see it, they are even surprised. So we don't have to talk about that. Fracking, she's been against it for 12 years. Defund the police, she's been against that forever. She gave all that stuff up very wrongly, very horribly, and everybody's laughing at it, okay? They're all laughing at it. She gave up at least 12 and probably 14 or 15 different policies. Like, she was big on defund the police. In Minnesota, she went out, wait a minute, I'm talking now. You don't mind, please. Does that sound familiar? She went out in Minnesota and wanted to let criminals that killed people, that burned down Minneapolis, she went out and raised money to get them out of jail. She did things that nobody would ever think of. Now she wants to do transgender operations on illegal aliens that are in prison. This is a radical left liberal that would do this. She wants to confiscate your guns, and she will never allow fracking in Pennsylvania. If she won the election, fracking in Pennsylvania will end on day one. Just to finish, one thing so important in my opinion. So I got the oil business going like nobody has ever done before. When they took over, they got rid of it, started getting rid of it, and the prices were going up the roof. They immediately let these guys go to where they were. I would have been 5 times, 4 times, 5 times higher, because you're talking about 3.5 years ago. They got it up to where I was because they had no choice, because the prices of energy were quadrupling and doubling. You saw what happened to gasoline. So they said, let's go back to Trump. But if she won the election, the day after that election, they'll go back to destroying our country, and oil will be dead. Fossil fuel will be dead. We'll go back to windmills, and we'll go back to solar, where they need a whole desert to get some energy to come out. You ever see a solar plant? By the way, I'm a big fan of solar, but they take 400, 500 acres of desert soil.
Trump, we have a
These
lot
are
of
not good
issues
things
that we
for the
have to get
environment,
to.
as
We're
she
out of time.
understands.
Thank you.
Lindsay, thank you. We have an election in just 56 days. And I want to talk about the peaceful transfer of power, which, of course, we all know is a cornerstone of our democracy, and the role of a president in a moment of crisis. Mr. President, on January 6th, you told your supporters to march to the Capitol. You said you would be right there with them. The country and the world saw what played out at the Capitol that day, the officers coming under attack. Aides in the West Wing say you watched it unfold on television off the Oval Office. You did send out tweets, but it was more than 2 hours before you sent out that video message telling your supporters to go home. Is there anything you regret about what you did on that day?
You just said a thing that isn't covered. Peacefully and patriotically, I said during my speech, not later on. Peacefully and patriotically. And nobody on the other side was killed. Ashley Babbitt was shot by an out-of-control police officer that should have never, ever shot her. It's a disgrace. But we didn't do this group of people that have been treated so badly. I ask, what about all the people that are pouring into our country and killing people that she allowed to pour in? She was the border czar, remember that. She was the border czar. She doesn't want to be called the border czar because she's embarrassed by the border. In fact, she said at the beginning, oh, I'm surprised you're not talking about the border yet. That's because she knows what a bad job they've done. What about those people? When are they going to be prosecuted? When are
Can we please be the third candidate? Don't nobody else want to run for president.
Coming in from all over the world, David, all over the world. And crime rates are down all over the world because of it.
But let me just
when are those, David, when are those people going to be prosecuted? When are the people that burned down Minneapolis going to be prosecuted? Or in Seattle? They went into Seattle. They took over a big percentage of the city of Seattle.
Oh, shit, he said like
going to be
that.
prosecuted.
But let me just ask
you. You might ask her that question.
You were the president. You were watching it unfold on television. It's a very simple question as we move forward toward another election. Is there anything you regret about what you did on that day? Yes, sir.
I had nothing to do with that other than they asked me to make a speech. I showed up for a speech. I said, I think it's going to be big. I went to Nancy Pelosi and the mayor of Washington, D.C., and the mayor put it back in writing, as you know. I said, you know, this is going to be a very big rally or whatever you want to call it. And again, it wasn't done by me. It was done by others. I said, I'd like to give you 10,000 National Guard or soldiers. They rejected me. Nancy Pelosi rejected me. It was just 2 weeks ago, her daughter has a tape of her saying she is fully responsible for what happened. They want to get rid of that tape. It would have never happened if Nancy Pelosi and the mayor of Washington did their jobs. I wasn't responsible for security.
It's going to be too late in February if she runs for president. It's going to be too late.
You as president, not
we need a third candidate.
I do want Vice President Harris to respond here.
I was at the Capitol on January 6th. I was the vice president-elect. I was also an acting senator. I was there. And on that day, the president of the United States incited a violent mob to attack our nation's capital, to desecrate our nation's capital. On that day, 140 law enforcement officers were injured, and some died. And understand, the former president has been indicted and impeached for exactly that reason. But this is not an isolated situation. Let's remember Charlottesville, where there was a mob of people carrying tiki torches, spewing anti-Semitic hate. And what did the president then at the time say? There were fine people on each side. Let's remember.
Where is Ross Perot Jr. when you need? That nigga used to always run his independent movie.
So for everyone watching who remembers what January 6th was, I say we don't have to go back. Let's not go back. We're not going back. It's time to turn the page. And if that was a bridge too far for you, well, there is a place in our campaign for you to stand for country, to stand for our democracy, to stand for rule of law, and to end the chaos, and to end the approach that is about attacking the foundations of our democracy because you don't like the outcome. And be clear on that point. Donald Trump, the candidate, has said in this election there will be a bloodbath if this and the outcome of this election is not to his liking.
Somebody call Kanye and tell him we need him to run. He might actually get some votes this time.
For the future and not go backwards to the past.
Let me just follow up here.
It was a different term, and it was a term that related to energy because they have destroyed our energy business. That was where bloodbath was. Also, on Charlottesville, that story has been, as you would say, debunked. Laura Ingraham, Sean Hannity, Jesse, all of these people, they covered it. If they go an extra sentence, they will see it was perfect. It was debunked in almost every newspaper, but they still bring it up, just like they bring 2025 up. They bring all of this stuff up. I ask you this, you talk about the Capitol. Why are we allowing these millions of people to come through on the southern border? How come she's not doing anything? And I'll tell you what I would do, and I would be very proud to do it. I would say we would both leave this debate right now. I'd like to see her go down to Washington, D.C. during this debate, because we're wasting a lot of time. Go down to, because she's been so bad, it's so ridiculous. Go down to Washington, D.C. and let her sign a bill to close up the border, because they have the right to do it. They don't need bills. They have the right to do it. The president of the United States, you'll get him out of bed. You'll wake him up at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Right. You'll say, come on down to the office. Let's sign a bill. If he signs a bill that the border is closed, all he has to do is say it to the border.
Sleepy Joe sleeping for the afternoon.
The border is closed.
Mr.
Those
President,
people are killing many people, unlike J6.
We talked immigration here tonight. I do want to focus on this next issue to both of you, because it really brings us this into focus, truth in these times that we're living in. Mr. President, for 3.5 years after you lost the 2020 election, you repeatedly falsely claimed that you won, many times saying you won in a landslide. In the past couple of weeks leading up to this debate, you have said, quote, you lost by a whisker, that you, quote, didn't quite make it, that you came up a little bit short.
I said that?
Are you now acknowledging that you lost in 2020?
No, I don't acknowledge that at all.
But
I
you
said
did
that
say
sarcastically. You know that. It was said, oh, we lost by a whisker. That was said sarcastically. Look, there's so much proof. All you have to do is look at it. And they should have sent it back to the legislatures for approval. I got almost 75 million votes, the most votes any sitting president has ever gotten. I was told if I got 63, which was what I got in 2016, you can't be beaten. The election, people should never be thinking about an election as fraudulent. We need two things. We need walls, and we have to have it. We have to have borders, and we have to have good elections. Our elections are bad. And a lot of these illegal immigrants coming in, they're trying to get them to vote. They can't even speak English. They don't even know what country they're in practically. And these people are trying to get them to vote. And that's why they're allowing them to come into our country.
I did watch all of these pieces of video. I didn't detect the sarcasm, lost by a whisker. We didn't quite make it. And we should just point out here as clarification, and you know this, you and your allies, 60 cases in front of many judges, many of them Republican.
No judge looked at it.
And said
they said we didn't have standing. That's the other thing. They said we didn't have standing, a technicality. Can you imagine a system where a person in an election doesn't have standing? The president of the United States doesn't have standing. That's how we lost. If you look at the facts, and I'd love to have you'll do a special on it. I'll show you Georgia, and I'll show you Wisconsin, and I'll show you Pennsylvania, and I'll show you. We have so many facts and statistics, but you know what? That doesn't matter, because we have to solve the problem that we have right now. That's old news. And the problem that we have right now is we have a nation in decline, and they have put it into decline. We have a nation that is dying, David.
Mr. President, thank you. Vice President Harris, you heard the president tonight. Instead, he didn't say that he lost by whisker, so he still believes he did not lose the election that was won by President Biden and yourself. But I do want to ask you about something that's come up in the last couple of days. This was a post from President Trump about this upcoming election just weeks away. He said, when I win, those people who cheated, and then he lists donors, voters, election officials, he says will be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law, which will include long-term prison sentences. One of your campaign's top lawyers responded saying, we won't let Donald Trump intimidate us. We won't let him suppress the vote. Is that what you believe he's trying to do here?
Donald Trump was fired by 81 million people. So let's be clear about that. And clearly he is having a very difficult time processing that. But we cannot afford to have a president of the United States who attempts, as he did in the past, to upend the will of the voters in a free and fair election. And I'm going to tell you that I have traveled the world as Vice President of the United States, and world leaders are laughing at Donald Trump. I have talked with military leaders, some of whom worked with you, and they say you're a disgrace. And when you then talk in this way in a presidential debate and deny what over and over again are court cases you have lost because you did in fact lose that election, It leads one to believe that perhaps we do not have in the candidate to my right the temperament or the ability to not be confused about fact. That's deeply troubling, and the American people deserve better.
I'll give you 1 minute to respond, Mr. President.
Let me just say about world leaders. Viktor Orban, one of the most respected men, they call him a strong man. He's a tough person, smart. Prime Minister of Hungary. They said, why is the whole world blowing up? 3 years ago, it wasn't. Why is it blowing up? He said, because you need Trump back as president. They were afraid of him. China was afraid, and I don't like to use the word afraid, but I'm just quoting him. China was afraid of him. North Korea was afraid of him. Look at what's going on with North Korea, by the way. He said Russia was afraid of him. I ended the Nord Stream 2 pipeline, and Biden put it back on day one, but he ended the XL pipeline. The XL pipeline in our country, he ended that. But he let the Russians build a pipeline going all over Europe and heading into Germany, the biggest pipeline in the world. Look, Viktor Orban said it. He said the most respected, most feared person is Donald Trump. We had no problems when Trump was president. But when this weak, pathetic man that you saw at a debate just a few months ago, that if he weren't in that debate, he'd be running instead of her. She got no votes. He got 14 million votes. What you did, you talk about a threat to democracy. He got 14 million votes, and they threw him out of office. And you know what? I'll give you a little secret. He hates her. He can't stand her. But he got 14 million votes. They threw him out. She got 0 votes. And when she ran, she was the first one to leave because she failed. And now she's running. I don't understand it, but I'm okay with it because
your time is
I think
up.
we're going to do very well.
We've got a lot more to get to.
Turning now to the Israel-Hamas war and the hostages who are still being held, Americans among them. Vice President Harris, in December, you said, quote, Israel has a right to defend itself, but you added, quote, it matters how, saying international humanitarian law must be respected. Israel must do more to protect innocent civilians. You said that 9 months ago. Now an estimated 40,000 Palestinians are dead. Nearly 100 hostages remain. Just last week, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said there's not a deal in the making. President Biden has not been able to break through the stalemate. How would you do it?
Well, let's understand how we got here. On October 7, Hamas, a terrorist organization, slaughtered 1,200 Israelis. Many of them young people who were simply attending a concert. Women were horribly raped. And so absolutely, I said then, I say now, Israel has a right to defend itself. We would. And how it does so matters. Because it is also true, far too many innocent Palestinians have been killed. Children, mothers. What we know is that this war must end. It must end immediately, and the way it will end is we need a ceasefire deal and we need the hostages out. And so we will continue to work around the clock on that. Work around the clock, also understanding that we must chart a course for a two-state solution. And in that solution, there must be security for the Israeli people and Israel, and in equal measure for the Palestinians. But the one thing I will assure you always, I will always give Israel the ability to defend itself, in particular as it relates to Iran and any threat that Iran and its proxies pose to Israel. But we must have a two-state solution where we can rebuild Gaza, where the Palestinians have security, self-determination, and the dignity they so rightly deserve.
President Trump, how would you negotiate with Netanyahu and also Hamas in order to get the hostages out and prevent the killing of more innocent civilians in Gaza?
If I were president, it would have never started. If I were president, Russia would have never, ever, I know Putin very well, he would have never, and there was no threat of it either, by the way, for 4 years, have gone into Ukraine and killed millions of people when you add it up, far worse than people understand what's going on over there. But when she mentions about Israel, all of a sudden, she hates Israel. She wouldn't even meet with Netanyahu when he went to Congress to make a very important speech. She refused to be there because she was at a sorority party of hers. She wanted to go to the sorority party. She hates Israel. if she's president, I believe that Israel will not exist within 2 years from now. And I've been pretty good at predictions, and I hope I'm wrong about that one. She hates Israel. At the same time, in her own way, she hates the Arab population because the whole place is going to get blown up. Arabs, Jewish people, Israel will be gone. It would have never happened. Iran was broke under Donald Trump. Now Iran has $300 billion because they took off all the sanctions that I had. Iran had no money for Hamas or Hezbollah or any of the 28 different spheres of terror. And they are spheres of terror, horrible terror. They had no money. It was a big story, and you know it. You covered it very well, actually. They had no money for terror. They were broke. Now they're a rich nation. And now what they're doing is they're spreading that money around. Look at what's happening with the Houthis and Yemen.
With Kim Jong-un, and it is absolutely well known that these dictators and autocrats are rooting for you to be president again because they're so clear. They can manipulate you with flattery and favors. And that is why so many military leaders who you have worked with have told me you are a disgrace. That is why we understand that we have to have a president who is not consistently weak and wrong on
Vice
national
President
security,
Harris.
including the importance of upholding and respecting in highest regard our military.
Vice President Harris, thank you.
And she's the one that caused it. That's weak on national security by allowing every nation last month for the year, 168 different countries sending people into our country. Their crime rates are way down. Putin endorsed her last week, said, I hope she wins. And I think he meant it because what he's gotten away with is absolutely incredible. It wouldn't have happened with me. The leaders of...
Finna get me with the commercials. Nope. I know they're gonna take a full 3 minutes too. So how y'all enjoying it so far? What's the word? I see y'all in there arguing. I ain't got nothing to say, but we need a damn third opponent. I wonder how many debates they're gonna do. We a couple months away. Is this gonna be a one-off? Sleepy Joe somewhere, just chilling. Donald Trump is dropping jokes. I'm sorry, he is dropping jokes. He being funny. He's showing personality. Not you say she be cutting his ass off because nobody want to hear his ass. See that is not the adult thing to do. She can't just be cutting off leaders, Juicy Kim. She cannot just be cutting off leaders and shit. Grady, oh no, I don't know if that's a good thing or not. Good night, Miss Lynn. Gloria said Donald is a clown. But he is funny. Raina, have you answered the riddle yet? I had just responded back to you. I see you changed your name to Raina's car eyes. Is this because you was in the car running away? But have you answered the question yet? If you're banned in the USA, how is anybody in the USA able to watch you? Is this banned have a new meaning? Because we shouldn't be able to see it at all. It would be like the channel don't exist to us if that was the case. We would wake up one day and be like, hey, where's that channel? But I just want to know if you had an answer. Oh no, let the commercials run. I know, don't pause it. They playing commercials. I'm just not gonna this. ABC probably won't copyright because of this shit. It's national shit, but the commercials and stuff, yeah, that'll get you. That'll get you them commercials every time. Yep. Not gonna get me. I'm watching the screen so I can see when it starts back. Thanks for watching. Oh, gee, y'all ain't gonna get me. Y'all gotta be quicker than that. I can't believe they had it. It is ABC. I'm like, they didn't put commercials in this bitch. But to be fair, they went an hour and 17 minutes before commercials. So they doing their 3 minutes worth of getting their money. They ought to be coming back any second now. I ain't bad, an hour and 17 minutes before they played 3 minutes worth of commercials. It just says, thanks for watching currently. Whose chat you in, Raina? Oh, Raina, you in the ghetto chick. Did Raina answer me? She trying not to fucking answer me. I need to know how you could be blocked in the US, but all your supporters can still see you. I don't understand it. It's just another long line. Oh, they going 5 minutes worth of commercials, huh? Long line of lies. No reason, just no juice. Oh, okay, yeah, you saw it. Just anything for a story at this point. All right, who is this nigga walking down the hall? They still showing commercials. They getting their money. They probably got about, I bet they sold these just 250 a pop. Every commercial, usually. Man, yeah, presidents at the Super Bowl, 250K. What y'all think about Jay-Z getting backlash for him putting Kendrick Lamar on the Super Bowl instead of Lil Wayne? I don't know why people feel like Lil Wayne should be on it, but they mad. Everybody.
David Muir and Lindsay Davis.
Welcome back to this historic ABC News presidential debate tonight. We're going to continue here, and I want to turn to the war in Ukraine. We're now 2.5 years into this conflict. Mr. President, it has been the position of the Biden administration that we must defend Ukraine from Russia, from Vladimir Putin, to defend their sovereignty, their democracy, that it's in America's best interest to do so, arguing that if Putin wins, he may be emboldened to move even further into other countries. You have said you would solve this war in 24 hours. You said so just before the break tonight. How exactly would you do that? And I want to ask you a very simple question tonight. Do you want Ukraine to win this war?
I want the war to stop. I want to save lives that are being uselessly, people being killed by the millions. It's the millions. It's so much worse than the numbers that you're getting, which are fake numbers. Look, we're in for 250 billion or more, because they don't ask Europe, which is a much bigger beneficiary to getting this thing done than we are. They're in for $150 billion less because Biden and you don't have the courage to ask Europe like I did with NATO. They paid billions and billions, hundreds of billions of dollars when I said, either you pay up or we're not going to protect you anymore. So that's maybe one of the reasons they don't like me as much as they like weak people. But you take a look at what's happening. We're in for 250 to 275 billion. They're into 100 to 150. They should be forced to equalize. With that being said, I want to get the war settled. I know Zelensky very well, and I know Putin very well. I have a good relationship, and they respect your president, okay? They respect me. They don't respect Biden. How would you respect him? Why? For what reason? He hasn't even made a phone call in 2 years to Putin, hasn't spoken to anybody. They don't even try and get it. That is a war that's dying to be settled. I will get it settled before I even become president. If I win, when I'm president-elect, and what I'll do is I'll speak to one, I'll speak to the other, I'll get them together. That war would have never happened. And in fact, when I saw Putin after I left, unfortunately left because our country has gone to hell. But after I left, when I saw him building up soldiers, he did it after I left. I said, oh, he must be negotiating. It must be a good, strong point of negotiation. Well, it wasn't, because Biden had no idea how to talk to him. He had no idea how to stop it. And now you have millions of people dead, and it's only getting worse, and it could lead to World War III. Don't kid yourself, David. We're playing with World War III, and we have a president that we don't even know if he's... Where is our president? We don't even know if he's a president.
And just to clarify
they
here...
They threw him out of a campaign like a dog. We don't even know. Is he our president? But we have a president,
Mr. President,
that doesn't know he's alive.
They did kick him aside like Bernie Sanders.
Do you believe it's in the U.S. best interest for Ukraine to win this war, yes or no?
I think it's the U.S. best interest to get this war finished and just get it done.
All right.
Negotiate a deal, because we have to stop all of these human lives from being destroyed.
I want to take this to Vice President Harris. I want to get your thoughts on support for Ukraine in this moment, but also as Commander-in-Chief, if elected, how would you deal with Vladimir Putin, and would it be any different from what we're seeing from President Biden?
Well, first of all, it's important to remind the former president you're not running against Joe Biden, you're running against me.
Biden so happy he ain't got to be up debating this time of night.
Would be over within 24
he's so
hours because
happy.
he would just give it up. And that's not who we are as Americans. Let's understand what happened here. I actually met with Zelensky a few days before Russia invaded, tried through force to change territorial boundaries, to defy one of the most important international rules and norms, which is the importance of sovereignty and territorial integrity. And I met with President Zelensky. I shared with him American intelligence about how he could defend himself. Days later, I went to NATO's eastern flank, to Poland and Romania. And through the work that I and others did, we brought 50 countries together to support Ukraine in its righteous defense. And because of our support, because of the air defense, the ammunition, the artillery, the javelins, the Abrams tanks that we have provided, Ukraine stands as an independent and free country. If Donald Trump were president, Putin would be sitting in Kyiv right now. And understand what that would mean, because Putin's agenda is not just about Ukraine. Understand why the European allies and our NATO allies are so thankful that you are no longer president, and that we understand the importance of the greatest military alliance the world has ever known, which is NATO, and what we have done to preserve the ability of Zelensky and the Ukrainians to fight for their independence. Otherwise, Putin would be sitting in Kyiv with his eyes on the rest of Europe, starting with Poland. And why don't you tell the 800,000 Polish Americans right here in Pennsylvania how quickly you would give up for the sake of favor and what you think is a friendship with what is known to be a dictator who would eat you for lunch.
Vice President Harris, thank you. We've heard from both of you on Ukraine tonight. Afghanistan
Shout
came
out
up in the
to
last
the 10
time.
people in prison.
I wanted her to
Shout
respond
out
to something
the
you said.
10 people on MoneyBoy Trade.
Please, I'll give you a minute here.
Putin would be sitting in Moscow, and he wouldn't have lost 300,000 men and women, but he would have been sitting in Moscow. Quiet, please. He would have been sitting in Moscow much happier than he is right now. But eventually, you know, he's got a thing that other people don't have. He's got nuclear weapons. They don't ever talk about that. He's got nuclear weapons. Nobody ever thinks about that. And eventually, maybe he'll use them, and maybe he hasn't been that threatening, but he does have that. Something we don't even like to talk about. Nobody likes to talk about it. But just so you understand, they sent her to negotiate peace before this war started. 3 days later, he went in and he started the war because everything they said was weak and stupid. They said the wrong things. That war should have never started. She was the emissary. They sent her in to negotiate with Zelensky and Putin, and she did. And the war started 3 days later. And that's the kind of talent we have with her. She's worse than Biden. In my opinion, I think he's the worst president in the history of our country. She goes down as the worst vice president in the history of our country. But let me tell you something. She is a horrible negotiator.
That's the second time he done told her to shut the fuck up while he talking.
They left. Putin did the invasion.
President Trump, thank you. You did bring up something. You said she went to negotiate with Vladimir Putin. Vice President Harris, have you ever met Vladimir Putin? Can you clarify tonight?
Yet again, I said it at the beginning of this debate, you're going to hear a bunch of lies coming from this fella. And that is another one. When I went to meet with President Zelensky, I've now met with him over 5 times. The reality is it has been about standing as America always should, as a leader upholding international rules and norms, as a leader who shows strength, understanding that the alliances we have around the world are dependent on our ability to look out for our friends and not favor our enemies because you adore strongmen instead of caring about democracy. And that is very much what is at stake here. The President of the United States is Commander-in-Chief. And the American people have a right to rely on a president who understands the significance of America's role and responsibility in terms of ensuring that there is stability and ensuring we stand up for our principles and not sell them for the benefit of personal flattery.
You talked about Ukraine and Vladimir Putin. I do want to talk about Afghanistan. It came up in the first hour of this debate. I want to move on to Afghanistan.
Said Trump did the most amazing thing I've ever seen. He got these countries, the 28 countries at the time, to pay up. He said, I've never seen it. He's the head of NATO. He said, I've never seen. For years, we were paying almost all of NATO. We were being ripped off by European nations, both on trade and on NATO. I got them to pay up by saying one of the statements you made before, if you don't pay, we're not going to protect you.
President
Otherwise,
Trump.
we would have never gotten it. He said it was one of the most incredible jobs that he's ever seen done.
Thank you. I want to turn to Afghanistan. It came up in the first hour of the debate, and we witnessed a poignant moment today on Capitol Hill, honoring the soldiers who died in the chaotic withdrawal from Afghanistan. I do want to ask the Vice President, do you believe you bear any responsibility in the way that withdrawal played out?
Well, I will tell you, I agreed with President Biden's decision to pull out of Afghanistan. 4 presidents said they would, and Joe Biden did. And as a result, America's taxpayers are not paying the $300 million a day we were paying for that endless war. And as of today, there is not one member of the United States military who is in active duty in a combat zone in any war zone around the world, the first time this century. But let's understand how we got to where we are. Donald Trump, when he was president, negotiated one of the weakest deals you can imagine. He calls himself a deal maker. Even his national security advisor said it was a weak, terrible deal. And here's how it went down. He bypassed the Afghan government. He negotiated directly with a terrorist organization called the Taliban. The negotiation involved the Taliban getting 5,000 Taliban terrorists released. And get this. And the president at the time invited the Taliban to Camp David, a place of storied significance for us as Americans, a place where we honor the importance of American diplomacy, where we invite and receive respected world leaders. And this former president, as president, invited them to Camp David because he does not, again, appreciate the role and responsibility of the President of the United States to be commander-in-chief with a level of respect. And this gets back to the point of how he has consistently disparaged and demeaned members of our military, fallen soldiers, and the work that we must do to uphold the strength and the respect of the United States of America around the world.
Vice President Harris, thank you. President Trump, your response to her saying that you began the negotiations with the Taliban.
So if you take a look at that period of time, the Taliban was killing our soldiers, a lot of them, with snipers. And I got involved with the Taliban because the Taliban was doing the killing. That's the fighting force within Afghanistan. They don't bother doing that because, they deal with the wrong people all the time. But I got involved. And Abdul is the head of the Taliban. He is still the head of the Taliban. And I told Abdul, don't do it anymore. You do it anymore, you're going to have problems. And he said, why do you send me a picture of my house? I said, you're going to have to figure that out, Abdul. And for 18 months, we had nobody killed. We did have an agreement negotiated by Mike Pompeo. It was a very good agreement. The reason it was good, we were getting out. We would have been out faster than them, but we wouldn't have lost the soldiers. We wouldn't have left many Americans behind, and we wouldn't have left $85 billion worth of brand new, beautiful military equipment behind. And just to finish, they blew it. The agreement said you have to do this, and they didn't do it. The agreement was terminated by us because they didn't do what they were supposed to do.
I want to move on.
And these people did the worst withdrawal, and in my opinion, the most embarrassing moment in the history of our country. And by the way, that's why Russia attacked Ukraine, because they saw how incompetent she and her boss are.
President Trump, thank you. I want to move on now to race and politics in this country. Mr. President, you recently said Vice President Harris, quote, I didn't know she was black until a number of years ago when she happened to turn black, and now she wants to be known as black. I want to ask a bigger picture question here tonight. Why do you believe it's appropriate to weigh in on the racial identity of your opponent?
I don't, and I don't care. I don't care what she is. I don't care. You make a big deal out of something, I couldn't care less. Whatever she wants to be is okay with me.
But those were your words, so I'm
I
asking.
don't know. I mean, all I can say is I read where she was not black, that she put out, and I'll say that. And then I read that she was black, and that's okay. Either one was okay with me. That's up to her. That's up to her.
Vice President Harris, your thoughts on this?
I think honestly, I think it's a tragedy that we have someone who wants to be president who has consistently, over the course of his career, attempted to use race to divide the American people. You know, I do believe that the vast majority of us know that we have so much more in common than what separates us, and we don't want this kind of approach that is just constantly trying to divide us, and especially by race. And let's remember how Donald Trump started. He was land, he owned buildings, and he was investigated because he refused to rent property to black families. Let's remember, this is the same individual who took out a full-page ad in the New York Times calling for the execution of 5 young Black and Latino boys who were innocent, the Central Park 5.
You didn't know they were innocent at the time. Nobody did.
Calling for their execution. This is the same individual who spread birther lies about the first Black president of the United States.
Look how long it took for them to be declared innocent.
And I think the American people want better than that. Want better than this. Want someone who understands, as I do, I travel our country. We see in each other a friend. We see in each other a neighbor. We don't want a leader who is constantly trying to have Americans point their fingers at each other. I meet with people all the time who tell me, can we please just have discourse about how we're going to invest in the aspirations and the ambitions and the dreams of the American people? Knowing that regardless of people's color or the language their grandmother speaks, we all have the same dreams and aspirations and want a president who invests in those, not in hate and division.
Vice President Harris, thank you. Lindsay?
President Trump, this is now your 3rd time.
This is the most divisive presidency in the history of our country. There's never been anything like it. They're destroying our country, and they come up with things like what she just said. Going back many, many years, when a lot of people, including Mayor Bloomberg, agreed with me on the Central Park 5, they admitted, they said, they pled guilty. And I said, well, if they pled guilty, they badly hurt a person, killed a person ultimately. And if they pled guilty, then they pled, we're not guilty. But this is a person that has to stretch back years, 40, 50 years ago, because there's nothing now. I built one of the greatest economies in the history of the world, and I'm going to build it again. It's going to be bigger, better, and stronger. But they're destroying our economy. They have no idea what a good economy is. Their oil policies, every single policy. And remember this, she is Biden. You know, she's trying to get away from Biden. I don't know the gentleman, she says. She is Biden. The worst inflation we've ever had, a horrible economy because inflation has made it so bad, and she can't get away with that.
Thank you. Time's up.
I want to respond to that, though. I want to just respond briefly. Clearly, I am not Joe Biden, and I am certainly not Donald Trump. And what I do offer is a new generation of leadership for our country. One who believes in what is possible, one who brings a sense of optimism about what we can do instead of always disparaging the American people. I believe in what we can do to strengthen our small businesses, which is why I have a plan. Let's talk about our plans and let's compare the plans. I have a plan to give startup businesses $50,000 tax deduction to pursue their ambitions, their innovation, their ideas, their hard work. I have a plan, $6,000 for young families for the first year of your child's life to help you in that most critical stage of your child's development. I have a plan that is about allowing people to be able to pursue what has been fleeting in terms of the American dream by offering a help with down payment of $25,000 down payment assistance for first-time home buyers. That's the kind of conversation, I believe, David, that people really want tonight, as opposed to a conversation that is constantly about belittling and name calling. Let's turn the page.
Vice President
and move
Harris,
forward.
thank you. Let's turn to policy.
President
Let's
Trump,
turn
we
to
have
policy.
to move on. President Trump.
Let's turn to policy, please.
To defund the police. She has a plan to confiscate everybody's gun.
President Trump,
she
we
has
do
a
have to
plan
move
to
on to
not
other
allow
issues.
fracking in Pennsylvania or anywhere else.
Okay.
That's
you,
what
Mr.
her plan is until just recently.
I just need
They
to
said, fuck y'all, President see y'all. Let them cook.
I'm sorry, we're gonna move on, Vice President Harris. President Trump, this is now your third time running for president. You have long vowed to repeal and replace the Affordable Care Act, also known as Obamacare. You have failed to accomplish that. You now say you're going to keep Obamacare, quote, unless we can do something much better. Last month, you said, quote, we're working on it. So tonight, 9 years after you first started running, do you have a plan, and can you tell us what it is?
Obamacare was lousy health care, always was. It's not very good today. And what I said, that if we come up with something, and we are working on things, we're going to do it and we're going to replace it. But remember this, I inherited Obamacare because Democrats wouldn't change it. They wouldn't vote for it. They were unanimous. They wouldn't vote to change it. If they would have done that, we would have had a much better plan than Obamacare. But the Democrats came up, they wouldn't vote for it. I had a choice to make when I was president. Do I save it and make it as good as it can be, never going to be great, or do I let it rot? And I felt I had an obligation, even though politically it would have been good to just let it rot and let it go away. I decided, and I told my people, the top people, and they're very good people in that administration. We read about the bad ones. We had some real bad ones too, and so do they. They have really bad ones. The difference is they don't get rid of them. But let me just explain. I had a choice to make. Do I save it and make it as good as it can be, or do I let it rot? And I saved it. I did the right thing. But it's still never going to be great, and it's too expensive for people. And what we will do is we're looking at different plans. If we can come up with a plan that's going to cost our people, our population, less money and be better health care than Obamacare, then I would absolutely do it. But until then, I'd run it as good as it can be run.
So just a yes or no, you still do not have a plan?
I have concepts of a plan. I'm not president right now. But if we come up with something, I would only change it if we come up with something that's better and less expensive. And there are concepts and options we have to do that. And you'll be hearing about it in the not too distant future.
Vice President Harris, in 2017, you supported Bernie Sanders' proposal to do away with private insurance and create a government-run healthcare system. 2 years later, you proposed a plan that included a private insurance option. What is your plan today?
Well, first of all, I absolutely support, and over the last 4 years as vice president, private healthcare options. But what we need to do is maintain and grow the Affordable Care Act. But I'll get to that, Lindsay. I just need to respond to a previous point that the former president has made. I've made very clear my position on fracking. And then this business about taking everyone's guns away. Tim Walz and I are both gun owners. We're not taking anybody's guns away. So stop with the continuous lying about this stuff. As it relates to the Affordable Care Act, understand, let's just look at the history to know where people stand. When Donald Trump was president,
If you could keep saying
he tried
plan
to get rid of the Affordable Care
2025
Act.
is his,
60
you could keep
times.
saying
I was a
you ain't do
senator
shit.
at the time
fuck?
when I will never forget the early morning hours when it was up for a vote in the United States Senate. And the late, great John McCain, who you have disparaged as being, you don't like him, you said at the time, because he got caught. He was an American hero. The late, great John McCain, I will never forget that night, walked onto the Senate floor and said, no, you don't. No, you don't. No, you don't get rid of the Affordable Care Act. You have no plan. And what the Affordable Care Act has done is eliminate the ability of insurance companies to deny people with pre-existing conditions. I don't have to tell the people watching tonight, you remember what that was like? Remember when an insurance company could deny if a child had asthma, if someone was a breast cancer survivor, if a grandparent had diabetes? And thankfully, as I've been vice president and we over the last 4 years have strengthened the Affordable Care Act, we have allowed for the first time Medicare to negotiate drug prices on behalf of you, the American people. Donald Trump said he was going to allow Medicare to negotiate drug prices. He never did. We did. And now we have capped the cost of insulin at $35 a month. Since I've been vice president, we have capped the cost of prescription medication for seniors at $2,000 a year. And when I am president, we will do that for all people, understanding that the value I bring to this is that access to health care should be a right and not just a privilege of those who can afford it. And the plan has to be to strengthen the Affordable Care Act, not get rid of it, pass this pro-law in terms of where Donald Trump stands on that.
I want to move to an issue that's important for a
Oh,
lot of
what I said was,
Number one,
if she can
John
keep
McCain fought
saying
Obamacare
Project
for 10 years.
2025 is his,
But
he
it
can
wasn't
keep
only
talking about
him. It
human
was
track.
all of the Democrats that kept it going. And you know what? We can do much better than Obamacare, much less money. But she won't improve private insurance for people, private medical insurance. That's another thing she doesn't want to get.
President
People
Trump.
are paying privately for insurance that have worked hard and made money, and they want to have private. She wants everybody to be on government insurance where you wait 6 months for an operation that you need immediately.
President Trump, thank you. We have another issue that we'd like to get to that's important for a number of Americans, in particular younger voters, and that's climate change. President Trump, with regard to the environment, you say that we have to have clean air and clean water. Vice President Harris, you call climate change an existential threat. The question to you both tonight is, what would you do to fight climate change? And Vice President Harris, we'll start with you. 1 minute for you each.
Well, the former president had said the climate change is a hoax. And what we know is that it is very real. You ask anyone who lives in a state who has experienced these extreme weather occurrences, who now is either being denied home insurance or it's being jacked up. You ask anybody who has been the victim of what that means in terms of losing their home, having nowhere to go. We know that we can actually deal with this issue. The young people of America care deeply about this issue. And I am proud that as vice president over the last 4 years, we have invested $1 trillion in a clean energy economy, while we have also increased domestic gas production to historic levels. We have created over 800,000 new manufacturing jobs while I have been vice president. We have invested in clean energy to the point that we are opening up factories around the world. Donald Trump said he was going to create manufacturing jobs. He lost manufacturing jobs. And I'm also proud to have the endorsement of the United Auto Workers and Sean Fain, who also know that part of building a clean energy economy includes investing in American-made products, American automobiles. It includes growing what we can do around American manufacturing and opening up auto plants, not closing them like happened under Donald Trump.
Vice President Harris, thank you.
That didn't happen under Donald Trump. Let me just tell you, they lost 10,000 manufacturing jobs this last month. It's going, they're all leaving. They're building big auto plants in Mexico, in many cases owned by China. They're building these massive plants, and they think they're going to sell their cars into the United States because of these people. What they have given to China is unbelievable, but we're not going to let that. We'll put tariffs on those cars so they can't come into our country, because they will kill the United Auto Workers and any auto worker, whether it's in Detroit or South Carolina or any other place. What they've done to business and manufacturing in this country is horrible. We have nothing because they refuse. You know, Biden doesn't go after people because supposedly China paid him millions of dollars. He's afraid to do it. Between him and his son, they get all this money from Ukraine. They get all this money from all of these different countries. And then you wonder, why is he so loyal to this one, that one, Ukraine, China? Why is he? Why did he get $3.5 million from the mayor of Moscow's wife? Why did she pay him $3.5 million? This is a crooked administration, and they're selling our country down the tubes.
President Trump, thank you.
Thank you.
We'll be right back with closing statements from both of our candidates. An historic night, this ABC News presidential debate from Philadelphia. Back in a moment.
Yeah, they on their last few commercials. Very, very interesting, but she tripping. He keeps talking about fracking, where this nigga done told you, he started out saying he ain't got shit to do with Project 2025, yet you keep saying that's his shit. Fair is fair. He on your ass. Good debate. I thought they were going to be a lot more feistier, but it is the first one. Don't lie though, she handled herself well. Normally she sounds ditzy and dingy when she be having these things, but she's handling herself well. He told her up like, ma'am, you had to go back to when I was a private citizen for some shit that everybody thought they was guilty on. Here they even pled guilty. That's why I was like, when did it become known that they were innocent? You gonna hold it against him that he took out an ad, and then about 30 years later, they said they innocent. Yikes. She had to go back to the lawsuit too. As he pointed out, what you got recently? What you got recently? Yeah, it happened. What you got recently? Niggas still love me when I did that. Amid the housing crisis, but whatever the fuck was going on, the lawsuits for him not renting to black tenants, it was still rappers out here saying they wanted to be like Trump. They wanted money like Trump. Yeah, she's maintaining herself well. It just sucks. He can't really say what he had been turning her up, like telling her to shut the fuck up when he talking. But he can't really do what he want to because they gonna call him sexist. But she's not shying away from taking barbs. She's definitely not doing that.
ABC News, America's #1 news.
Get ready, America, every Friday. The hottest trends,
No,
styles, and
no.
must-have.
Oh, y'all trying to get me, G. Nope. Y'all tricked me. Y'all showed me that damn screen. I thought we was in there. No. Y'all already got y'all getting enough promo off this shit already. Y'all don't need me. Care about your Hulu packages and shit of that nature. Fuck the NFL. My Titans lost. I don't care about nobody team until we get on the winning column. Fuck your team. Disappointed again. There's always some shit being a Titan fan. On the damn game. Fucking special teams. Getting punts blocked. Fucking it's ridiculous. I don't even know who we play next. We need a win before I just give up on the season already. Fuck your team, E-Books. Yeah, that motherfuckers. Y'all was greedy with the ass tonight, ABC. God damn. You gotta see a pic. I'm gonna post that picture of her and my oldest son when they were both babies. The motherfuckers look like, guess who look like twins? Ma'am, look, the Titans are not going winless. We're not the Lions, man. We're just not. We ain't even sorry. We just got a young team, kind of. We got a young quarterback, I'll say that. All the pieces around them are not young.
Pennsylvania.
What about running
Here
backs?
again, David Muir and Lindsay Davis.
Welcome back tonight. The time has come for closing statements, and Vice President Harris, we begin with you.
So I think you've heard tonight two very different visions for our country. One that is focused on the future, and the other that is focused on the past, and an attempt to take us backward. But we're not going back. And I do believe that the American people know we all have so much more in common than what separates us, and we can chart a new way forward. And a vision of that includes having a plan, understanding the aspirations, the dreams, the hopes, the ambition of the American people, which is why I intend to create an
and they
opportunity
ranked.
economy,
They're like number
investing in
7 in
small
the country.
businesses,
You know
in new
nothing about
families,
school.
in what we can do around protecting seniors, what we can do that is about giving hardworking folks a break and bringing down the cost of living. I believe in what we can do together that is about sustaining America's standing in the world and ensuring that we have the respect that we so rightly deserve, including respecting our military and ensuring we have the most lethal fighting force in the world. I will be a president that will protect our fundamental rights and freedoms, including the right of a woman to make decisions about her own body and not have her government tell her what to do. I'll tell you, I started my career as a prosecutor. I was a DA, I was an attorney general, a United States senator, and now vice president. I've only had one client, the people. And I'll tell you, as a prosecutor, I never asked a victim or a witness, are you a Republican or a Democrat? The only thing I ever asked them, are you okay? And that's the kind of president we need right now. Someone who cares about you and is not putting themselves first. I intend to be a president for all Americans and focus on what we can do over the next 10 and 20 years to build back up our country by investing right now in you, the American people.
Vice President Harris, thank you. President Trump?
So she just started by saying she's going to do this, she's going to do that, she's going to do all these wonderful things. Why hasn't she done it? She's been there for 3.5 years. They've had 3.5 years to fix the border. They've had 3.5 years to create jobs and all the things we talked about. Why hasn't she done it? She should leave right now, go down to that beautiful White House, go to the Capitol, get everyone together and do the things you want to do, but you haven't done it and you won't do it because you believe in things that the American people don't believe in. You believe in things like we're not going to frack. We're not going to take fossil fuel. We're not going to do things that are going to make this country strong, whether you like it or not. Germany tried that, and within 1 year, they were back to building normal energy plants. We're not ready for it. We can't sacrifice our country for the sake of bad vision. But I just ask one simple question. Why didn't she do it? We're a failing nation. We're a nation that's in serious decline. We're being laughed at all over the world. All over the world, they laugh. I know the leaders very well. They're coming to see me. They call me. We're laughed at all over the world. They don't understand what happened to us as a nation. We're not a leader. We don't have any idea what's going on. We have wars going on in the Middle East. We have wars going on with Russia and Ukraine. We're going to end up in a third world war, and it'll be a war like no other because of nuclear weapons, the power of weaponry. I rebuilt our entire military. She gave a lot of it away to the Taliban. She gave it to Afghanistan. What these people have done to our country, and maybe toughest of all, is allowing millions of people to come into our country. Many of them are criminals, and they're destroying our country. The worst president, the worst vice president in the history of our country.
President Trump, thank you. And that is our ABC News presidential debate from here in Philadelphia at the National Constitution Center.
Son of a bitch, I thought I was talking all that time. But I was saying, I'm glad that he came out and said off top, I ain't got nothing to do with Project 2025, so people can stop saying it. Even though you're still gonna say it, he at least has the clip out here again. But since it's in debate form, him saying it, that they'll take more credence to it. But yeah, I enjoyed it. I hope to have more than one. I'm looking forward to get a little bit spicy, but I don't understand why he was asked a question and he answered by saying, when did she become black? Why that's offensive or anything? He was asked that question. He didn't bring it up. He wasn't on his shit talking about it. They brought it up. And he didn't lie. And notice, she did not get up there and say, I am black. She did not say that at all. She started talking about how Trump, his whole career, has attacked people and tried to divide the country. She did not say one time, I am black. I'm an African American. She did not say it. We all heard it. She did not answer that shit at all. I wish one of them would have just, I wish there would have been a debate question. Kamala, are you black? Let's see, let's hear her answer that in front of the national audience, because tonight she started talking about what Trump said. And he was just saying, I don't care which one she is. It shocked me that the reporter came to me and was saying this shit. He was shocked. It's not like he asked himself that question. He was like, damn, when she would come back? I thought she was Indian. That's what she ran under. That's the vice president. That's what they were saying. And when she was winning Senate and DA, they was calling her Indian. So I'm confused. But all right, y'all say she black, cool. She ain't said it tonight, though. We'll see if she ain't eating some collard greens for breakfast tomorrow. He ain't talking about immigrants. He's talking about the bad immigrants and the amount of illegal ones coming over. If his wife came over legally, that ain't what he's talking about. He's talking about the vatos, people that's taking the black jobs. At least he can rhyme. I enjoyed it though, I did. I guess tomorrow morning we will break down Dalton, because I was watching it, but I really wasn't into it because I thought the fucking debate started at 7. So I just really filled in like an hour and 15 minutes with Dalton. I was paying attention, but I wasn't. I called Tiffany being upset. They didn't want to pay no bills, but she said she was going to pay a lot. We're going to count how often do they fucking do Big Bingo? Because it was a lot of goddamn, I think dude said he was reading from line 54 to 117. That's what Carmen didn't want to pay. And a lot of them motherfuckers was for cakes. She made that man read all them goddamn things out, and that was stupid. But that we just said, you just spit all this but old bullshit. About some, it's in the budget. It's in the budget. Ma'am. You already said y'all ain't got no budget. So how'd you spend it? How it's in the budget and you ain't got one? You just spending money. Oh, it's getting ugly. Then she said the news lied about how much we spent for the Thorton Township, even though the news foiled the information. She said they lied. Sue them then, Tiffany. How about Thornton Township sue them for slandering them on the news by saying they spent $150,000 when you in fact said you only spent $50,000. How about that? You know, eat your ass up. But I should have knew that was coming. I was watching her page on her Facebook page. She always, you can tell what she gonna talk about at the meeting and her tone at the meeting based on what she's been posting all week leading up to it. And all week it's been Nick Cannon, haters, God on your side, haters, jealous. Sure enough, she came in there. They just jealous of this supervisor. Damn. Well, damn. You don't even like, ma'am, you hate the scrutiny you get. So why would they be jealous? Every day you complaining about the fake news. You claim you don't care, but you constantly talking about what the news is talking about. Ignore that shit. Why are you giving credence to it? But we'll talk about that in the morning. I am listening. Actually, yeah, that's it. That's it. I think I've done a complete day. I don't know if the analytics challenge has been taken by the people that was talking about my views, I don't know if they, that's all I want to talk about. Since we talking about views, I won't talk about views. I don't want to talk about her wanting to suck my dick and none of that, and the husband being a cook. I want to talk about views and money off views and subscribers. That's what I want to talk about. Are they gonna respond? Y'all think they're gonna put up their little tiny analytics from all three of their channels? And I think if they do all three of their channels, it still ain't gonna fuck with neither one of mine. I'm pretty confident in this. I really am. But yeah, I say, yeah, about 8:30. We'll see the shenanigans of Tiffany and what she had going on. Now the subject is, I'm finna get the fuck up out of here, First Lady. That's the subject. I'm getting the fuck up out of here. I'm done early, actually. That's cool. I'm done early. They did most of the talking for me. The Thorton Township and other shit. So it's kind of like being on autopilot. Where the fuck is my, okay, there you go. No, it's background music. It's not what I need. Video clips. Okay, I'm tripping. I shut all the tabs down and I got confused. I may or may not be full of that weed. May not be. Could be though. I don't know. All right, y'all. To the next episode. We out.
Whole team shining, we stars, big dipping. Get a lot of haystack gang in the sip. Niggas ain't real, nigga. You gotta feel me, nigga. Smile in my face behind my back, you tryna kill me, nigga. You say you got beef, then what you wanna do? You screaming, fuck me, nah, nigga, fuck you. You ain't hard at me. Couple kick dough, couple robberies. Nigga get extorted, get aborted, he don't pay the fee. Posted in the north, got the 2 to 4 recipe. I be cooking chicken bit, not talking rotisserie. I got all my hater, man, I know that they sick of me. Who the fuck he think he is, motherfucker MB3? I honestly pay him no attention. They up under me. Haters call me Visa cause I'm everywhere they wanna be. Ladies, man, catch me with more honeys than a bumblebee. Say she got a husband, but she always wanna suck the D. State gang, true sipper, who these niggas wanna be. I've been getting money since a younger. I've been pushing peace, stay strapped. Gotta watch your back when you're in the streets. Friends turn to foes, never know who your enemy. I was in Detroit, he ain't keep the same energy. West side down the slide, I don't think he feeling me. I was on some demon time, nigga talking about killing me. They no business, let's see all that shit that you gon' do to me. Come outside, why you scared? I thought that you been a G. We don't bluff, we pulling up, we different down in Tennessee. Riding through the city, I'm with it, I got my 9 o'clock. If it really pity, let's get it, I got the game locked. Green and white square, been serving them on the same block. Dime piece with me, she foreign, she come from Bangkok. Riding through the city, I'm with it, I got my 9 o'clock. If it really pity, let's get it, I got the game locked. Green and white square, been serving them on the same block. Dime piece with me, she foreign, she come from Bangkok. I got an old school bitch, call her Aretha. Shawty so fine, shawty she a keeper. Smoke that reefer, preferred by the quarter. I do this for my kids, my sons and my daughter. Get treated like a king. Hoes call me sire. One look like Lotto, the other look like Maya. My plug, he ain't playing, he only talking the numbers. I cop it, whip it, and ship it. My money coming in bundles. Different flavors of kush, orange, grape, and apple. If a nigga trap me, it's gonna be a disaster. Dope money and bitches, pimp robbers and snitches. It's all in my hood. My homies say that I'm gifted, I really can't complain. Shit's starting to change, a product of my environment. Tell me who can I blame? Neck like a glacier, bought my shawty a bracelet. Money go get her, that's why these niggas be hating. Riding through the city, I'm with it, I got my 9 o'clock. If it really fitted, let's get it, I got the game locked. Green and white squares, been serving them on the same block. Dime piece with me, she foreign, she come from Bangkok. Riding through the city, I'm with it, I got my 9 o'clock. If it really fitted, let's get it, I got the game locked. Green and white squares, they serving them on the same block. Dime piece with me, she foreign, she come from Bangkok. Riding through the city, I'm with it, I got my 9 o'clock. If it really fitted, let's get it, I got the game locked. Green and white squares, they serving them on the same block. Dime piece with me, she foreign, she come from Bangkok. Riding through the city, I'm with it, I got my 9 o'clock. If it really fitted, let's get it, I got the game locked. Green and white squares, they serving them on the same block. Dime piece with me, she foreign, she come from Bangkok. Whole team shining, we stars, big dipper. Get a lot of haystack gang in the sip.